but like Dio kind of like makes, I don't know if at first he thought people should be taking him seriously because he kind of like puts on that persona of wanting to be taken seriously. But I also don't like Holy Diver either, or anything Dio really's ever done. I don't dislike it a lot, but I definitely would never listen to it.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a Dio breaker?
Oh my God.
A Dio breaker. So stupid. I love it. It's so good.
Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist. We take one of their records, we listen to it, we break it down, the lyrics, music, everything, and we try to have a good time doing it. And this week we have a very special guest because we are doing Black Sabbath, and we have our friend of the pod, Skip, all the way from merry old England, from Birmingham, England, to join us. So say hello, Skip.
Hello, Skip. No, how are we doing, guys? How are we doing? Merry Christmas.
Awesome. Oh, yes. Happy Boxing Day for you.
Happy Boxing Day for Tom DeLonge.
Do people say that? Is that what people say in England?
No.
Happy Boxing Day?
Quaint as we are, we don't walk around in top hats going up. Merry Boxing Day, so yes, shall we go to the market? We shall go to the market.
What the fuck is Boxing Day anyway? What is that?
I think
settle it right here.
I think it's like just an old school like day after. I think probably people did used to go to the boxing as like a working class thing. I think it's a sort of like day after Cremo. No one would quite go back to work. There would still be like old fairs and stuff back on. It's definitely, I think it is an old English thing. I mean, do you guys really, make a deal out of it, or is it always a holiday for you guys, or is it just going to
Boxing Day?
Holiday. It's never been a holiday for us.
I think I only knew it existed when Blink did the song about it, and then I was like, what the fuck is Boxing Day?
Same here. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Boxing Day with the Blink song.
Of course it is. Oh, there you go. Tom DeLonge, teacher, artist, dreamweaver.
Dude, did we just like 6 degrees like England to Tom DeLonge? Boxing Day?
Possibly. Is that one in Tyler's head?
There's a transition for you.
There it is.
All right, so yeah, because we forgot to do our 6 degrees of Tom DeLonge on the album rankings episode, we're just going to do it right now because Skip and I did our homework. So let's start with you, Skip.
You are so full of shit, Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler did not do his homework. I can think of one. I'm going to do one right now by the time you're done.
So I wanted to do a fun one that involved lots of bands that I like. So I did. This was kind of off the cuff about a month ago. So, Ozzy Osbourne, lead singer of Band of the Week, Black Sabbath, for a time. He did a cover, in fact, of Black Sabbath with the band Primus. He covered a track off the album of the week. He covered Nativity in Black. From Primus, Les Claypool, he played bass in the Desert Sessions with Joshua Homme and co. Played bass on the latest one. Another member of the Desert Sessions would be Geordie White, aka Tuga Ramirez, from our last guest episode, who coincidentally has a band called Goon Moon with the guy from Masters of Reality, which is another little Sabbath link. Anyway, getting there, Geordie, or Twiggy, he played with Trent and the Nine Inch Nails, who of course have a young man named Ilan Rubin on drums, Ilan to Angels and Airwaves, Airways to Tom, Tom to Blink.
Wow, look at that. That's a goodie.
Yeah.
That is a goodie. So you have just the one?
I did just the one, because I thought some guys did their work. But, I'll
That's true.
carry,
if there were 3
carry
of them,
this,
it would have been, would have been
carry this pod alone as the guest star. Don't worry, boys.
Somebody has to do it.
That's me shrugging on the weight of it, yeah.
All right, so mine real quick. Ozzy Osbourne from Sabbath. He put out a solo record last year, I believe it was. Post Malone was on that record. Post Malone did that really, really great Nirvana set. cover set with Travis Barker. Travis Barker is in Boxcar Racer with Tom DeLonge. So there you go.
Nice.
That's my 6 degrees.
That was a great
That's
set.
a really good set.
So what do you got?
Who?
You said you came up with one.
Oh, I was actually I was thinking.
He lied.
Thinking in your mind?
Yeah.
a good place to
we
think.
could do Brad Wilk. Brad Wilk did something with fucking Trent Reznor for that Michael Moore movie.
Okay.
The whatever it is, and then Trent Reznor we could go to Elon or Josh Freeze.
Josh Freeze, yeah.
Go that route. So that's
Nice.
fine.
There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Kind of cheating
You got
because
one.
Brad Wilk's not like a Black Sabbath member, really.
Yeah, but he played on a Black
In
Sabbath
spirit.
record. He was pretty much a member. He played on it, so
Yeah.
he's a
Okay.
member.
Well, all right. We could have
right.
went with Dio, and then when we did Tenacious D, and then the Meatloaf route, or when we did Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
See,
there's a lot of different
Okay.
ways to go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
All
different
right.
ways to go. All right, so let's move on. So that was our 6 degrees of Tom DeLonge. Let's get into the album of the week. We have a big one to really get through and dissect. So what are we doing today, Jeff?
Black Sabbaths.
Now, Jeff and Skip, what are our first our origin story?
Slow down there, dude.
What are our origin stories with Black Sabbath? We'll start with Jeff, then Skip, and then me. So that'll be the order of everything here. So yeah, what do you got, Jeff?
Go. It has to be Iron Man. I don't remember the first time that I heard Iron Man, but Iron Man has to be the first time that I've ever heard Black Sabbath. And my mom was never like a big metal person, and she liked Zeppelin a lot, but like CCR was mainly like her kind of classic era of rock band.
Yeah.
She's a little bit. I don't know. I don't know when she was born. Oh, she was born in 1967. That's right. I just found that out 2 days ago. So like the whole 70s era of stuff was kind of lost, except for CCR. So Iron Man is the only Sabbath song I remember learning or hearing. And then when I started learning guitar, Iron Man was the first song that I kind of learned how to play like all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely like a formative song in my guitar playing. But it really wasn't until we started doing the pod where you kept bringing Sabbath songs in, and I was like, oh wow, this like it gets better and better and better. And then it really wasn't until I got more into like the stoner rock, doom metal stuff that I went back and then really appreciated what Sabbath had done.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like my actual introduction is way long ago, but my keen introduction is only like 5 years at most.
Yeah. Okay. All right then, Skip. What's your origin story with the Black Sabbaths?
With the Black Sabbaths, well, I mean, I'm a Brummie. I'm from Birmingham, UK. So, and they're my dad's favourite band. So I guess they've always been around. I couldn't tell you, when I first heard them, it would have been as a kid, literally, either on the radio or on a tape machine or any of that stuff. So, my dad was at the last ever Sabbath gig. Didn't invite me. Thanks, mate. That's pretty shit. But yeah, I mean, I can remember hearing this album. I can remember, obviously, Paranoid, the single, that still gets radio play, on rock stations over here. We don't have K-Rock, but we have the similar versions. I think we talked about radio last time, didn't we? So let's go down that
BBC
route.
Radio.
BBC. Yeah.
Yeah, BBC 1, 2, 4, 5,
75, yeah, like that. So yeah, they've all, and then as a teenager, getting into music and kind of discovering it, say, like, hanging out in bedrooms, doing things you shouldn't be doing and stuff. If you hang out in any teenager in Birmingham's room long enough, you're gonna hear some Sabbath, you're gonna hear some Ozzy. They're a band that have just always been there, almost to the point where you kind of underappreciate them, because you just take them for granted. And then, my girlfriend's a Sabbath fan. So, yeah, this month's been really great, actually, like diving back in. It's probably been a few years since I've really listened to some of these albums, but then others are in regular rotation. Yeah, because they're so good. Yeah.
They're fucking awesome, man. The Ozzy era is just so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, your origin story you don't really know because you've you live in Birmingham. So
Yeah.
Since
They're
his origin, since Skip's origin, he's been listening to Black Sabbath. Really,
Probably in the
that's true.
womb. Yeah, probably in. Yeah.
all right then. So yeah, my origin story is, probably Iron Man. I don't specifically remember when I heard that, but that was probably that because my mom listened to a lot of classic rock, and they used to play Iron Man and Paranoid on KLOS, the classic rock station here.
95.5. Your Uncle Joe Benson.
in LA. So yeah, that was probably my first introduction, but it wasn't until like 7th grade, and I took my cousin's burn CD of the best of compilation, and that was when I really kind of just loved it, absolutely fucking loved it. And then I just kind of listened to that over and over again. And then when I saw Sabbath, the original lineup of Black Sabbath in 2005, that was when I was just absolutely blown away. And then I went on Amazon and I bought all their CDs on Amazon that night. And I was just obsessed with them after I saw that lineup,
Amazing.
that show. So that's my origin story is that stuff. So let's jump into the fucking Black Sabbath self-titled record. I guess we're just going to go through this track by track. There's only 5 tracks, and kind of if it's a banger, we'll let you know, and just go from there. Talk about lyrics, all that good stuff. So, what do we have on the first Black Sabbath record, or on the first song, Black Sabbath?
I mean, they're all bangers. All 5 of these songs are bangers.
True.
Some parts of these songs, because we're doing the North American version, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Some parts of these songs are more banger-ish than other parts of the same song. So, but they're all bangers. I think Black Sabbath from Black Sabbath. I think that's their best song. That's the best song they've ever done. That is
Really
like when Skip had said we will send Paranoid to the aliens, which I agree as an album as a whole. But if I said if you were to say send one song, it's Black Sabbath.
It would be
That's
that.
it. That's
I
the
think
hands
it's
down.
the
And then-
last
And then
track
when
they
you sent
played.
when you sent that demo today of the extended demo, whatever it was for
Yeah,
Black Sabbath, like that was even more fucking crazy. That was
It was even cooler, right?
I don't know, man. That even kind of gave me chills. That was like, wow, I can't even imagine thinking like I'm growing up listening to the Stones play bootleg American blues music and getting tired of that, and then hearing Black Sabbath drop this album, and it's just so fucking weird. And I totally understand why people thought they were like devil worshippers, because damn, like what else would you
nothing
think?
sounded like this. Nothing.
What else would
sounded
you
like
think
this.
when you heard this shit, dude? These guys are fucking from hell. They are from hell. And that demo version, my God, it's slower. It's more aggressive in the vocals because he's like taunting you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he sounds more not dramatic, but he just sounds more emotional when he yells and screams, and it's an intense track. I mean, it's over 9 minutes long. There's an extra verse in there. I think they tuned down half a step or something like that on that demo. It's a great. I'd never heard it until today, and it's quite the gem. It's fucking awesome.
Damn, it was
It's
good.
really
And then,
cool.
dude. This song is unreal. Like I guess like earlier pieces of Black Sabbath have permeated into my younger brain, right? Like the cover of Dookie, and then Guttermouth when they talk about Ozzy and other things. Like so, like little bits and pieces of like pop culture have gotten in there, but this, I mean, when we started this whole listen through and the vinyl thing, when he says like, "What is this that stands before me?" Like I never really like got into that line, got into that opener, got into that whole instrumental part that even like builds up to that thing. And that line out of context by itself, what is it that stands before me? It's stupid. It's a throwaway line. It's dumb. But when it builds up to it, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of eerie. I don't like it. It makes me feel weird. Makes me feel uneasy.
Yeah.
Get the shakes. Get the shakes.
And reading the story behind the song, like the lyrics and everything, it makes it even more eerie.
supposedly.
It's a scary song, man. Yeah, supposedly. Supposedly.
Throw that out there.
Which
Gotta
we'll get
have a bit
into.
of lore.
Yeah, we'll get into
I love-
to the lyrics in a bit.
I love lore, but I mean that's silly boy talk. But
It's fucking cool.
But butts are for pooping, right?
It's true.
The whole like second verse, dude, is just I don't know, fucking crazy. It's like Satan sitting there, he's smiling, like literally mentioning him by name, watching flames get higher. Ooh,
Yeah.
It's creepy,
that's
man.
creepy,
It's
dude.
creepy. Just that those 3 notes too. Just those 3 guitar notes. Oh my god, dude, it's fucking amazing. And the way Geezer comes in with that, he goes boom, and then it hits that first note. That kind of like, not a slide in, but whatever you want to call it. It's so good. It's so goddamn good.
So dope. Yeah.
So what do you have? What do you have on this one, Skip?
I mean, yeah, what an introduction, and again, I said in the rankings, we're going to talk about context and how I think it's really important to take context with particularly this album. This is 1970, opening with the sound of a thunderstorm and the bells. That's kind of corny in 2022, but in 1970, that's atmosphere.
Scary.
Pure, and you're like, and that, 3-note riff, instrumentally, like it just builds before you get Ozzy coming in. It's been playing for a couple of minutes before he starts. You know what, Jeffrey is right. If it's one song, then it's Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath. And you got to, this is a band who were working class kids from Birmingham, and what that really meant, you got to understand, like, the class system, not so much a thing. It's still there these days, but it's a particularly British thing. And if you were working class, factory boy, that was what you did. You went to school till you were about 15. You left. You got a job in the same factory your dad worked in. You married the girl next door. You spat out a couple of kids. You retired, and then you died. That was it.
Out a couple of kids.
But, there was no escape. There was nothing expected of you, and you didn't expect anything, and these guys were rough. I remember I went to the Sabbath exhibition, which is amazing, and it's about one of the few things that Birmingham's gone, actually, we're pretty great, and they did this incredible exhibition at the art gallery of all things Black Sabbath. They rebuilt Tony Iommi's studio in the art gallery, basically.
That's so rad.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, and it was so cool. So much stuff they just had kicking around, and loads of fans. Like, there's like a whole wall of fans in Sabbath t-shirts and stuff like that. It was really cool, like, inclusive experience. If it ever tours and it's over, I recommend going to, but I don't know if it ever will. But I remember there's a thing that struck me. It's this poster. It's an old gig poster. It's from like 69 or something, and it says, 4 lads from Birmingham, you better beware. And that was true. These guys would go out and fight, and they were working in, the whole Tony's Fingers thing. They were working dangerous jobs for fuck all money, and that was what they were expected to do. And this music was their escapism, and they were a blues band. You can hear it all across this album. And, this whole album is basically their live set at the time. That's why it's got the covers as well. And, imagine being in this fucking tiny bar. You've got a warm pint of bitter in a glass that you can use for hitting someone. There's this shitty pub stage that's maybe just a couple of beer crates. These 4 rough-looking guys get on, and then that riff kicks in, before this guy stumbles on, does that whole two hands on the mic Aussie thing, and just starts the, what is this? And you'd be like, the hairs on your neck, man, they go, it's just, you could have, no wonder the critics hated it, and no wonder the kids loved it.
Totally, man.
It's pure atmosphere. And then when the build-up finishes and that riff comes in, when it kicks into a gear, and you just, and Satan's coming around the bend, you're like, yeah. And again, it's goofy now and stuff, but like, they needed escapism from their lives. They couldn't write about what they knew, because what they knew was getting up, going to work.
And Birmingham's not really like that anymore, right? Or is it like parts of the city that are like that?
So like Aston is where they're from, and that's still pretty run down. It's still, there's all these old red brick factory buildings still. Birmingham's like massively cleaned up now, and we did the Commonwealth Games this year and stuff, and we've just been voted like foodie city of the country, which is pretty cool. And there's some really great stuff. Where I live in the jewelry quarter, Darling, which is like, it's all like cobblestone streets, and it's where a lot of jewelry has been made for hundreds of years and is still made, and there's really nice cool bars and places to hang. And Birmingham's changed an awful lot, but there is still
we might have talked about this before, like comparing it to Peaky Blinders, because that show takes place in Birmingham. But you know, like the street that they live on, like in the first couple seasons, is a lot of Birmingham like that? Does it look a lot like that? Is that accurate?
Yeah, for sure. If you go down if you go down Digbeth, it's still kind of like these old red brick pubs and these like rough and ready streets, and it's all a bit. I mean, part of Digbeth is literally called Cheapside. It gives you an idea. And it's, it was very, you lived around the factories that you went to work in. There's a lot more greenery now, which actually started with stuff like Cadbury's, which is a chocolate brand over here. I don't think you guys get it over there, or maybe you do now.
Never heard of it.
He was a Quaker who came in and went, actually, like, workers deserve to live in nice conditions. And there's a village called, it's a part of Birmingham that started as a village called Bourneville that was a like Quaker town, and he built houses specifically so workers could have a garden and stuff like that. Ozzy didn't have a toilet inside for the first 20 years of his life. Things like
that's fucking crazy.
Things like that. And as
to think about, like in England, it's not like it's a third world country, or it hasn't been for a long time.
No, but they were called the back-to-backs, and it's these kind of 2-room houses. You'd have one room, maybe 2 rooms upstairs, 1 room downstairs, and you'd have families of 5 to 7 people living in them. The Birmingham back-to-backs. You can still go around a few of them. I think they used them, some of them, for the Peaky Blinders filming. And they're tiny, and whole families, 3 generations would be living in them.
That's crazy. That's fucking nuts.
It is crazy. It's comparatively to like the U.S., just like an entire land mass area that's not even the size of California.
It's mental. That's
fucking nuts.
As I say, if you were on the bottom rung, you didn't get off that bottom rung. Which is where these boys were. It was. I think one of the things that one of the reasons that they play so hard is this was their escapism. This was a way out that didn't exist. And I remember they willed it into existence.
I heard an interview a long time ago that Bill Ward did, and he said his inspiration for drumming, I guess it's his inspiration, but he took it from like hearing the factories going all night and just like the repetitive sound of the machines moving, and he took that, it was like a subconscious thing when he started to play the drums. So he would play the drums like he heard the machines going in the factories all night.
100%. There's a quote around an area called Longbridge, which is another kind of factory built area, and it's just it's a plaque, and it just reads, "I slept to the sound of hammers," and it's it was
which is
industrial
like,
revolution. It's industry.
That's such a bittersweet thing to do there, because if he's going to sleep to the sound of hammers, like he's already at a younger age understanding rhythm patterns, things like that. It's permeating into his mind. And he's enjoying it, because you only sleep to shit that you fucking enjoy.
You're
not sleeping to whatever shit that you don't enjoy. So that's cool that he's already doing that at a very young age.
Yeah, I think that's where the groove of Sabbath come from. It's very rhythmic. They're very, for all that Iommi is a guitar hero, he's quite tasteful compared to others at the time. He's a really good rhythm player. That's why I prefer him to Page, because I think Page maybe had better leads, and he's got his kind of swanky style. He's rough and ready, but that kind of works. But in terms of actual tight rhythm playing, like Iommi owns Page all over the book in my book.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, potting is hard.
Also, Page is way sloppier too.
Yeah, that's
a guitar player, but he's a sloppy player. Yeah,
he's not tight at all. Like,
Tony is though.
Oh God, so tight.
If we're going to sit here and fucking debate who's a better guitar player, Page or Tony Iommi, if we're not even talking about songwriting or anything like that, that's fine. If we're just talking about straight up who is fucked up constantly more during live performances and can't put on a good show, then Page takes the cake there. I get it. But I'm not going to sit here and have both of you badmouth Jimmy Page as he's not fucking top 3 greatest guitar players of all time, if not greatest guitar player of all time. So that's fine.
That's it.
Damn, man, we really struck a nerve with you, huh?
You did, because it's annoying. I'm tired of this Jimi Hendrix fucking thing. I get it. He's not. No. Jimmy Page is the greatest guitarist ever lived. Fact. Move on.
That's a bold statement. All right.
Okay, so back to the
musically, song. Back to the song. Also, what I really love that Ozzy does is when he screams, he says, "Oh God, please help me," and it just his voice kind of rings out, and then just everything comes crushing in. God, it's just a really well crafted song through and through. It sounds so dumb, but it's so cool.
It's so good. I think that the hammer-ons that Tony's doing, I think that's like a severe afterthought, and I because I don't in the demo, but it almost seems like they wrote this song, and I can just imagine him playing it live. And like, this is kind of boring, that third note. Let me just see how this sounds. That
Yeah.
and like that was like also like another like kindle in the fire to birth like this fucking extravagant full sound that is Black Sabbath, because it sounds out of place. It sounds weird. If somebody did it now today, it would be cheesy and dumb because he did it first.
Because he did it
the
first,
best.
yeah. And it's so simple too. That's the beauty behind it, is how simple it is. It's 3 fucking notes, and then with the hammer on. It's crazy, but it's so good, man. And I mean, also, people listening, I'm sure they know, but we still have to bring it up. The reason Tony has a very distinct style, because 2 of his fingers, the tips of his fingers were cut off, so he used to have to play with plastic, like not like toothpaste caps, but like some sort of like dishwashing soap caps or something like that. That's how he relearned how to play guitar, was with those plastic things on his fingers. So he had to press down on the strings harder, and he had to kind of relearn how to play guitar. And I think that's just it's so cool. I mean, it sucks that he lost his fingers, but I don't think they would have the career they have if that hadn't happened, you know.
So I mean, just going off of that too, he's left-handed.
There's that, yeah.
So like when we say that he lost his fingertips on his right hand, you think like, okay, well, who gives a fuck? But like the more I was kind of like reading about things and him, and I watched a Loudwire did an interview with him, and he had said that somebody, actually the old foreman from the job that he worked at, and the way he lost his fingers is fucked up too. It's kind of scary. I mean, losing your finger, I guess, would be scary anyway. But like some fucking piece of machinery fell down, smashed his fingers, and just by like sheer just like reaction, he pulled his hand back, and he looked down, and his fingers were still sitting there. Oh, that's fucking nasty. So the fucking foreman, and he wasn't even supposed to be using that machine. Some guy called out of fucking work. Whoever that guy is, fuck that guy. Actually, not fuck that guy, because maybe not Black Sabbath. Some guy called out, so therefore, 15-year-old Tony had to work the machine. But the foreman that day had given Tony according to lore also, given him a Django Reinhardt EP. I was like, hey, dude, check this out. This guy's a really great guitarist. Yeah. What do you think? And Tony's like, oh, yeah, he's really fucking good. He's like, yeah, he only got fucking 2 fingers. So quit being a bitch and go fucking play guitar. And so that, like, according to lore, that also kind of like inspired him to be better. But yeah, he like crafted fingertips, but it made him be more like aware of how he's placing his fingers. So he has to like buy lighter strings. I read that he bought like banjo strings because they're thinner, they're lighter. He can press down easier, down tune his guitar, and he's not using the same kind of chords and kind of like what do you call it? Like scale patterns. He's doing other things. That's not getting into more complex musical theory, because I don't understand a lot of like the fourths and fifths and things that he was doing, but that's where he went with that, and that helped craft the iconic sound of Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
Black
there's
Sabbath.
a lot
Black
more.
Sabbath.
There's a lot of fifths in his playing and a lot less fourths, because then the chord shape was really hard to do with the fingertips.
Right.
I think. So, yeah. I mean, what's interesting about this album is it's the only one he recorded with a Strat. And you can hear in the guitar tones, I think, in bits of it, it's a lot, it's that single coil sound as opposed to that kind of chuggy SG. I think the SG, which again,
I like how he wasn't the story he found somebody who had like a right-handed player who was playing a left-handed
lefty,
SG,
and they swapped.
and they swapped it. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so rad.
And it's like, obviously the SG is such a part of his sound these days, but yeah, and you can hear it's a Strat and parts of this, because it's that thinner, single coil hot.
Yeah, it's
sound.
much thinner. Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't got the Sabbath chunk, and this is a less riffy album overall, I think, than certainly the 2 that came after.
Oh, definitely. It's but there's
way
a lot more
bluesy.
jamming too. This
Yeah,
is probably their bluesiest record they've
100%.
ever put out.
Especially with
those
their live
jams.
set. This is just their live set.
Yeah. Oh, so let's touch upon that real quick. So they had 2 days to record this record. They thought that was too long, so they ended up recording this entire record in 12 hours, all live. They had Ozzy sit in a sound booth by himself while the band played, and they cut it in 12 hours. They mixed it the second day, and then it was released, and they didn't think anything of it.
They jammed it. They went to the
crazy.
pub. They came back and mixed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking insane, man. That this iconic record was done in 12 hours. It's unreal.
I think there's a couple takeaways from that. Like one that really shows like just how not Jimmy Page they are, right? Like a studio musician who can do whatever the fuck he wants in the studio. These like Skip was saying, these are working class kids at best trying to do something that may possibly maybe get them out of the working class life. And one day is a fucking lot to these people. Like that's a whole day out of work. That's a whole day doing bullshit work, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
So like for them to think that one day, like that's a lot, like because it is a lot, right? Like taking off work for a day when you really need the money.
I think they did it mid-tour.
That's a lot.
I think they literally went out and did a gig the next night. And we're like, cool.
They
right.
like $20.
Yeah, in Switzerland, they had to go. They were traveling to Switzerland to get paid $20. Yeah, that's fucking nuts, man. It's fucking nuts.
And the other thing too is like the producer, for him to think, or I don't know if he realized it or if he was just kind of like, I don't know, going with the flow. But for him to allow these kids to fuck around live and record this in one day, very very little dubs, and just like, hey, yeah, just play, have a good time. Like that's pretty.
And this is what they get. Wow.
That's either extremely lucky or extremely brilliant.
God damn. All right, so this song. So did you guys read about, or maybe you guys can expand on this? But the riff that he plays is part of like the Diabolus in Musica, which is like a satanic thing. Did you guys read more into that?
Yeah, isn't it? It's like Satan's Fifth or something. It's called. It's like it was kind of a series of notes that were banned because they sound evil, like back in the Middle Ages. I mean, I'm
okay.
Sure, yeah. Like it was like the devil's progression essentially, and it's like, oh, you can't do that. Like it's because it sounds evil, and it does.
It's really bizarre.
And it's the time you think
it's even a thing.
You could conjure spirits. So I'm talking about like the 1400s, 1500s. And so like I think I could be wrong. I know that is a thing. And so like I mean that's pretty metal. To be like, I'm going to play
it's
these
like one of the most
notes
metal things you could do.
That gets into like a lot of
conjured the devil.
I'm just not familiar with that type of complex, like musical writings and tritones. Like I don't know that type of like musical theory. So I know when people write about that and say, oh yeah, he's using these force, or he's using a lot of force instead of fist because his fingers all fucked up. Like I don't quite know what that means. Mm-hmm. So I did read a little bit about that, but I am like just going back to the Diabolus and Musica. It automatically made me think of the Slayer album that I really liked from the 90s.
Oh, yeah, from the 90s, that new metal one.
That little new metal one that was so
Yeah.
good.
It was pretty
Everybody
good.
gets it. Yeah, I like it. It's good. But yeah, I don't know. There you go.
Okay. So let's jump into the lore real quick, and then obviously that'll lead into the lyrics. Do one of you guys want to tackle that, or do you want me to?
You go for it, big boy. It's your pod.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
you're like the teacher here. You delegate. Otherwise, it's like a free for all.
Okay, you're right. So the lore behind this is Ozzy had stolen some like witchcraft spell book. Apparently it was written back in like the 1600s or something like that. He stole it, gave it to Geezer. Geezer read it, whatever, put it up on his shelf, went to sleep that night, woke up in the middle of the night with a dark figure at the foot of his bed. It gives me chills even just like when I read it or talk about it. I don't know why. He sees a dark figure at the end of his bed. He sees it walk over. He sees it walk, and then he like passes out or something. And then when he wakes up again, he runs over to go check on the book, and the book is gone. And that's the lore of this song, this band really. And nobody knows what happened to that book. And that's why some of the lyrics in this song, reference it with "What is this that stands before me?" That creepy line. And once you know the story, you're like, wow, this is like makes the hair on your neck stand up. It's good. It's really, I love the lore of this.
Sounds like he just had like sleep paralysis. Maybe
Yeah.
drinking too much, working too much. But I don't know. It's cool lore. I dig it. There's nothing wrong with like a bunch of guys getting together, creating a fucking fantastic album and saying, here's what happened. And then forever living to that lie. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, because obviously they're so grounded in where they're from and stuff, and being these, guys, he's a guy who just likes the football, loves his Aston Villa, Play with the bass now and then. And yeah, so like it sounds, it's more believable. Even, I mean, it's good bullshit, but it's more believable because it comes from, it's not this airy fairy, like hoity-toity English literature student coming up with this idea. It's a down and dirty Brummie, and I think that gives it more kind of meaning and a more kind of credibility. I mean, it's great stuff mythologizing and mythologizing. Pardoning is hard, but
that works.
Yeah.
But there's this great, the whole figure in black which points at me, and yeah, Jeff's right. It sounds like sleep paralysis. It's a common thing, as they say, is a woman sitting on your chest, isn't it? Like a devilish woman, and these guys drank. They drank like that's all you could do. It's all you did, as
I think at this time they didn't even have the harder drugs like cocaine and things like that.
Oh,
I mean, they wouldn't be able to afford it.
No,
even weed, I don't even think they would really have. I think it would just all be.
No,
booze.
I mean that didn't really come in till Master of Reality. Yeah, this is just like sinking pints and pints of bitter, and this is like before the cider tax, so it'd have been probably cider. 'Cause it was literally half the price of beer back then.
Wait, what was it?
Cider used to be super, super cheap. That's why it's a working class drink. And then they brought in a cider tax because there used to be pubs that just sold cider because it was so much cheaper. And then they brought in a tax on it. They put it up to the same tax as beer, and it killed like a load of bars overnight because they had to start charging. That's why cider is kind of a worker's drink. Yeah.
Look at that. This is a little history lesson. I had no idea.
There you go. Yeah, no, my dad remembers the cider tax coming in.
Holy shit. Okay.
That's why he doesn't drink cider anymore. He was like, no, everyone switched to beer overnight, pretty much.
Yeah, why cider's shit. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But yeah, if you had a choice, I would definitely not drink that.
But yeah, you could get twice as much bang for your buck, on your wage. You'd go for 2 pints for the price of one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a fighting drink as well. Especially cider, a snake bite, which is cider and beer mixed together. That shit drives you crazy. There's all the sugars in the cider. It's fighting drink.
Yeah, I'm really not into that snake bite. I've had a snake bite before. It's gross, man.
It's rough, man.
Yeah, it's two things I don't like: the cider and the stout, or the Guinness, or whatever.
It's okay. You gotta get a good pairing. It's not bad.
Yeah. Okay. So lyrically, it is really dark, like we talked about that, especially that second verse. Big black shape with eyes of fire, telling people their desire. Satan sitting there, he's smiling, watches those flames get higher and higher.
Oh, so good.
I love it. It paints such a perfect picture.
That's fucked up for 1970, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Like they were just burning fucking Beatles albums after John Lennon had dropped some shit, right? Like now this guy comes out with Satan like in fire. Like come on, are you kidding me?
When he said the Beatles are bigger than Jesus.
Like come on,
it's such a dumb thing to say.
It's such a
but
John
like
Lennon
they
thing
beat
to say.
the world, especially the U.S. like lost their minds.
Yeah, you guys went crazy, and then you shot him.
That's true.
Wait, did you guys ever watch Angry Beavers?
Second to worst.
Yeah, I remember Angry Beavers.
Do you remember the episode where they were like essentially the Beatles, and then Norbert said that they were bigger than sliced bread, like literal sliced bread, and then they burned all of their like it was like a whole Beatles thing. They burned all the Beaver
excellent
Fever
parody.
I
records.
don't remember that.
And
It's
Jeff,
so
you are
good.
right.
It's so good,
You
though.
are right. He is the second worst Beatle. That's fine. You're correct.
Who, Lennon?
Yeah, Lennon's for sure the second worst Beatle.
Oh
It's
yeah,
all about,
definitely.
It's all about George.
definitely.
It's all about George.
It's all about Paul, but that's okay.
Okay.
Temporary secretary.
Forget
Oh, I love that song though.
It's so goddamn good.
But really,
Oh,
right?
man.
Like, dude, just not even probably 5 years before, maybe like 2 years. I don't know, 5 to 2 years before this. Like Lennon had said they were bigger than Jesus, and the U.S. lost their fucking mind, burning albums. Like it's some kind of fucking crusade. It's silly. And this album drops, and they're like literally talking about Satan here, and how like fire is coming up, and all of this imagery, and it's the sound is kind of scary, and this is completely against like the church, and it's fucking bizarre that this was not blown up more. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't read too much into it, but it wasn't banned like the fucking Beatles were.
But when you think about it, when Lennon said that, the Beatles were the biggest band in the world, and they were on top of everything. And to say that, yeah, I mean that's why people reacted. But Sabbath were nothing. They were a bar band. This is their first record. They had no they had no fans around the world. You know what I mean?
No, so,
I think that's why they got away with it.
Already
When you deal
digging
with-
hard, but
When you deal with religion, people lose their minds more than like anything else. And even like South Park, right? Bring it back to like a contemporary thing. South Park, like pretty much every episode they've done, there's still a handful of episodes that you can't watch anywhere. No streaming services, not on YouTube, nowhere.
yeah, not even their
because
website has it anymore, does it? Like,
yeah,
they've dropped.
exactly.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the depiction of Muhammad.
Yeah.
Because they thought it'd be funny, and it is kind of funny, but they thought it would be funny to like draw Muhammad, and it caused a big thing. And because of like death threats and stuff, it is now censored. Even when you buy like South Park DVDs, it's still censored or it's completely omitted.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's still that's in fucking this generation we live in. This is 1970. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did the world not lose their mind?
I mean,
You're
also,
right.
I think the fact that, like, I mean, as a general rule, like, the lyrics for Sabbath songs, they're usually sort of mono or duo, syllabic. They're not big. He doesn't use big, Geezer keeps it deliberately simple. And then, obviously, Oz's deliveries. So you can hear the words as well. There's no, like, there's no murkiness on that. You know what he's
True.
talking about, And I think
Definitely.
that's really cool. It's an accessibility. And, it's that weird, as a kid, I didn't know that Ozzy didn't write all the words because you grow up thinking, oh, singers write their own words. But actually,
Yeah.
90% of it is the bass player. He wasn't even
Yeah.
a bass player. He was a guitar player.
Well, he's not doing anything else. You might as well write lyrics, right?
Or, I don't know.
Oh.
Geezer's bass tone. Geezer's bass playing. And his tone on this album is incredible. Like, it's so... We're getting sidetracked, but it's so cool in terms like it's got so much attack, but so much tone rolled off at the same time. It's like you can hear because he's a fingerstyle player. He says he only ever plays with a pick when he's so far through into a tour that his fingers are bleeding, and he's like the only time you'll see me with a pick is when I can't play with my fingers anymore because we've toured for 2 fucking solid years or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I love how you
hear-
can. Yeah, you can hear like the clacking because even when you watch him play the bass, like he's really really slapping those strings, but he's not slapping with his thumb; he's slapping with all of his other fingers. So it's like he's almost like he's playing like a stand-up bass on an electric bass.
It's
You know
similar
what I
to
mean?
how John Entwistle played as well, like kind of typewriter thing. Yeah.
Oh,
where
yeah.
It's really kind
True.
of like, aggressive and, but it's weird because it's almost got a moi to it as well. It's like clack and then moi and then the note, and it's just it
that's
fills
true, huh?
so much sonic space. Like, it's killer tone, man. It's killer
It
tone.
is. All right, so do we have anything else on the Black Sabbath song, or have we kind of
I think
run through it
we've
all?
got it. Where does it
It's kind
stand?
of fun that we've only. This is my 1B. This is my personal 1B.
Your
This is my
personal
1B as
1B.
well.
This is my Hamlet, so it's my 2B.
Oh my god!
Yeah, in jokes.
Oh boy. Okay. All right, so then let's jump into The Wizard. So this starts out with the harmonica. It's very loud in the mix. And that part's kind of annoying, but it's a solid song. What are your guys' first impressions on this song?
But like even I know you hate the harmonica in general, but even this harmonica sounds fucking weird. It sounds
Yeah.
creepy. It does not sound like a Bob Dylan harmoca, not a jailhouse harmonica. It's weird. It's verbed up.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something about it that's just weird.
Maybe it's the way he plays that dun. It's the way maybe it's like that abrupt stop that he does. Because that stop is weird. The way he just
it's kind of
stops it immediately
drony.
and nothing else.
Kind of
Yeah.
drony as well, and like it almost sounds like it's been played quite far away from the mic. It's sort of like maybe it's verbed up, as you're saying. It kind of comes in, and then that weird. It sounds almost like fantasy music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little goofy.
I mean, I get heavy Tolkien vibes from this song, which makes sense. Being Tolkien was also grew up in Birmingham and stuff, so certainly I wouldn't be surprised
I
if
didn't
these
know that.
guys had read The Hobbit and stuff. Yeah. Jumping ahead to
Well, I
the
mean,
lyrics.
Geezer did say that the lyrics were about Gandalf and Lord of the Rings.
There you go. That makes sense.
So yeah, that was his inspiration. But then, I mean, lyrically, it could be taken as a couple different things. But he said, that was the main inspiration was Gandalf, which I think
This
is
is,
pretty rad, especially
I-
at the time.
I mean, I don't care. Who gives a fuck about Lord of the Rings? There's only one return. That's of the Jedi. Whatever.
You're
You know,
exhausting.
actually, now speaking of like people that are from Birmingham, you know Kenny Baker is from Birmingham.
Really? I did
Eh?
not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have an R2D2 museum?
They do not, but he does have a star on the Walk of Fame.
Nice.
On the Birmingham Walk of Fame?
Yeah, which is that's where Black Sabbath
What?
Bridge is. Obviously, Ozzy has one. Well, all the
Really?
Sabbath
I
have.
didn't. I had no idea they had a Walk of Fame there.
Yeah, it's not great.
Huh.
It's pretty small.
Well,
it's-
is,
as long as
is
you have Sabbath
Cillian
and fucking
Murphy on
Kenny
there, or
Baker,
what?
that's Killian Murphy. Is he from Birmingham?
Well, no, I mean Peaky Blinders. I was
Oh.
just being an idiot.
oh God, there's more to Birmingham than Peaky Blinders.
I know. I know it irritates you a little bit, so I like to bring it up.
So I've heard, and you can tell me if this is true or not, but in the American version that gets broadcast over there, you guys have to have it subtitled because you can't understand what we're
Yes.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
That's
I can't,
fucking
especially
funny.
Arthur. Arthur's the hard. Arthur
He's-
and
well,
Tom
he's-
Hardy.
He's the worst. He's the worst Brummie accent. It's like Paul Anderson's a great actor. I say this every time, but his accent is so wandering. Cillian Murphy's is pretty good, I think, as a Brummie because it's clip. You know, he's a bit. Arthur's a bit more black and dry, and there's a little bit of Mancunian in there for some reason. Whilst the way Thomas talks, it's quite succinct and it's quite clipped. And everything belong to us, and that's more Brummie than what's going on? It's all a bit hammy.
Honestly, what it is it's like it's a lot of work. We don't have to have the subtitles on, but it's a lot of fucking work. Like trying to decipher what they're saying and then put it into the context of what's actually happening. It's a lot of fucking mental work to do because it's tough. It's tough to understand what they're saying. So putting the subtitles on just makes it easier to follow the story.
Yeah.
Don't
Fair
need
enough.
it, but it makes it easier.
I think maybe some of the accent is that they talk really fast, so it's hard to pick up on certain things.
That's
So
a Brummie
I
thing.
don't know.
That's a Brummie
Is
thing.
it? Okay.
Yeah, it's talking really fast.
And like
Yeah,
the big
they-
thing, like for me, is like and you do it too. Like the TH sound is an F for some reason, and like that
Oh.
really throws me off. So when you say like this is their third album, like it takes me like several seconds to understand like that's how it's supposed to be said
Huh.
where you are. But by that time, you're already 7, 8, 9 words deep, and I've already missed those words.
Oh, is that why you said
see-
there's no F in free earlier?
Yeah, exactly.
See, I don't think you talk very fast, Skip. I don't hear that.
Oh, I slow
Like,
down when
I totally understand you.
He slows
right?
it down for us. But like
slow-
it's those words, that 3 words. And we don't, as humans, we don't always like listen to every word people say. We just put things together in context. And that's why
Yeah.
like when you say a word over, like Kyle, when you say it over and over and over, it sounds weird because we've grown up hearing words being said away. So we associate that word with a sound rather than being 4 letters, Kyle. So when you say it over and over and over, you're disassociating the sound with what it actually is, and that's why it sounds weird. Like there's a whole fucking
Okay.
study on this. This is like the reason why Kyle sounds weird. And any word you say over and over and over sounds weird. This is we hear by like sound, and we put things together by sound. So when something
I'd like that
throws
you've done
off,
the research.
because the whole Kyle
Yes.
thing like threw me off a while back. But like
See
when
research.
Skip and people say like free, like that's like what hold on there, dude.
Well, I mean,
Like that throws you off, and you're missing all
Yeah.
these other sounds afterwards.
partly I have like part of the accent. I think is like R's aren't very high. Unless I roll my R's will drop to W's quite a lot. So that's making the free sound. If
Oh, that's true, huh?
Yeah. But I think that is quite a regional thing as well. Yeah, it's like people who say something instead of something. That really gets me. Or people who say Pacific instead of specific. Like Pacifically, I
Oh,
was
yeah,
talking about this.
yeah.
I'm like, no, that's a giant fucking ocean. It literally gets my goat. Especially when
shit.
they think they're being clever. It really, I just want to punch people.
I mean, it all boils down to like the whole world should adopt the Southern California dialect because that's the only
Yes.
actual objective, correct way of speaking English.
With the
Can't
long
complain.
accent or nothing
Exactly.
else.
Yeah, the Poway accent. yes.
Exactly. Oh damn.
Pow way or no way, yeah?
Oh damn. The Poway or no way. Wow.
You can have that one too.
You're so giving over here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump back into this. I don't even know where we were.
We're on
at.
the wizard. We're on a harmonica.
Well, the harmonica, but then how do we jump into accents and?
I don't know.
remember.
This song to me is like this is just like a doom metal jam song. It's just strung together by a lot of kind of riffage and other things here, and they're like, oh, let's just make a song out of it. And what like really sets this song apart for me is the drumming. There's a fucking cowbell here.
Yeah.
Do you hear the cowbell?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It only does it like 4 times throughout the entire song. It's subtle and it's always in the back and it's always under like a heavy crash hit or a heavy cymbal, any kind of cymbal hit, and he'll tap that cowbell and that's all you get. That is all you get. Amazing.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I love how Bill fills the space too. You know that there are
so
a lot
busy.
of moments. Yeah, there are so many moments in the song where Tony especially just stops playing completely, and then that gives Bill room to kind of do whatever the fuck he wants. And there's some great fills, great parts, and it's just, dude, he's such a killer drummer, and I wish he got more credit than he does.
There's a cool
even though he
thing.
gets a lot of credit, but
But a lot of the call and response in the Sabbath music is actually Ozzy and Bill as opposed to Ozzy and Tony. You know, the classic blues call and response thing, and I think that's really cool. I mean, it's inherent obviously in this song. Yeah, there's a lot of call and response. This is very bluesy, I think. But then I like Jeff's kind of doom metal ditty comment. I think that's it's weird.
And
it's a weird song. The harmonica is unsettling. It's unsettling, I think.
It's so loud. It's so goddamn loud in the mix too. It just hurts your ears sometimes. But
I listen to a lot of Bob Dylan, and I've never heard Bob Dylan in any way, even remotely close to playing the harmonica and having it sound like this.
I wonder if it's because Ozzy doesn't know how to play the harmonica, and he was the only member who actually could play it because everybody else had their own instruments. Like it just sounds so weird to the point where he probably doesn't even know how to play.
Well,
it.
I genuinely wonder as well if when they were tracking this album, you know, they say that he did the vocals but in a different booth. Did he just stay in the booth and do the harmonica like that? So it's going to naturally was it literally recorded loud? I'm throwing out possibilities here. I'm spitballing, but
it could be.
You know?
Yeah, no, it could be because he doesn't know. Even if he's wearing headphones or monitors or whatever, he could be playing it just not even hearing himself play. So that's why
he's blowing that thing as hard as he can. That's why for sure it's going to be loud.
Yeah, and if it's tracking into the same tracks as the vocals, again, you're talking 8-track here. You know, this isn't some fancy studio.
And like we said, they didn't do a ton of overdubs on this record, and I doubt they would have, overdubbed all of the harmonica in there.
Oh, fuck that, yeah. so many happy accents of this band, you know. It's
dude, I know.
I
I just love how there are also moments on this record too that just sound like they're about to fall apart, but Bill still can like bring it back in, and then Tony just I don't know, man. It's this record is so unique. It's so there's nothing that sounds like this record.
No, not even in the rest of our canon. There's nothing that sounds like this record.
Yeah.
Given so I read that Geezer started off as a rhythm guitarist, and then Tony was like, "Oh, I don't want to play with fucking another guitarist, little bitch ass." But whatever. So given
that's
that
why he
Geezer,
quit Jethro Tull too, because he couldn't deal with the not being the leader of the band.
Well, it's because Jethro Tull is more prog than he could ever fucking comprehend or imagine. Jethro Tull's best is fantastic. Okay. Don't hate.
Good.
Don't hate.
It's
Don't
good.
hate. It's fantastic. Passion
It's
Play,
good.
fantastic. Songs from the Wood, fantastic. Fantastic. So don't hate.
Okay.
But given that Geezer's coming from like a rhythm guitar background, that's got to be on his mind constantly. Like, let me just get into the groove first and then work my way up from there, rather than how can I just noodle around and be a fucking showboating Flea style bassist and then worry about rhythm later. And I think that's where a lot of this rhythm comes from. Is Bill is just fucking fantastic, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and kind of a Bonham loud, aggressive style, but then also a very dainty kind of like jazz-driven thing. Dude, that sounded like that, and it's very kind of like calm at times. But I think Geezer can play the lines of supporting Tony as well as grooving along with Bill at the same exact time, and I think that's tough for bass players to do. I think bass players kind of have trouble bridging that gap between how can I allow the drummer to connect with the guitar player. And I think that's tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I
So
think,
let's play. What? Sorry.
so I think what you're saying is coming from a guitar background. He was saying a lot of times I just followed what Tony was doing, and that's what I got that heaviness from, because it was like almost double tracking the guitar. And as I said before, his bass tone fills so much space. It's so broad and so deep that he does just give this. He's not a. It's weird because he says he doesn't play fills, but some of the fills on this album are incredible, like on the bass. But he's
good.
He's a simple player, but he is playing a lead bass style, or at least he's doing the Mark thing. Mark in Blink, his job is to be the rhythm guitar player, really, because the way Tom plays guitar is not traditional, and the way
Not at all. Yeah.
the way that Tony played guitar is, there's a lot of blues in there, but again, it's not traditional. And he's doing that rhythm guitar power trio thing, but not by being a crazy tech bass player, but just by being a bass player who works on feel. And I know you hate the word vibe, but he gets the vibe of the song, and that's what glues it together, I think.
It's a dumb word that perfectly describes a situation, though. Vibe, you got to read the room, man. That's what vibe is. It's a stupid word because, it's a solid
It's
vibe,
so
bro.
overused. It's overused.
It's very overused,
Drives
but
me nuts.
that's the best descriptor to essentially, hey, read the room, and that's what vibe is for sure.
Yeah. All right,
Sorry,
let's play a little bit of The Wizard, and then we'll jump back into some of the music and also the lyrics. So here it is, The Wizard from the Black Sabbaths. From Black Sabbath. Heard that cowbell too again. So good.
So good.
Who does that in the 1970?
I mean, a lot of bands were doing it. I mean, when did that Blue Oyster Cult song come out?
Oh, that was
1970, wasn't it?
mid 70s, dude.
Was that mid 70s?
Agent of Fortune. That was that's like the worst album too. Not the worst album, but boring album.
Other bands were doing the cowbell, but yeah, no, it's just so sporadic in the song. It doesn't really make sense.
I'd be curious to hear when the first band to do the cowbell was, in a bigger rock format, because that Blue Oyster Cult album was for sure mid 70s.
Yeah, I'm sure the Beatles did it. I just can't recall. They had to have done it in the early mid 60s.
But after pooping. But if you want to talk Blue Oyster Cult, their first album was early 70s too, right around maybe a year or two after Black Sabbath. And that first two Blue Oyster Cult albums, very metal, dude. Very, very hard rock, very hard metal.
But that's been the argument, is that who was the first metal band? Was it Deep Purple? Was it Sabbath? Was it Blue Oyster Cult? Was it Zeppelin? Some people argue that Zeppelin was the early metal, but I don't agree with that. But I don't know, whatever.
I would say this band. So I think I either gave it to you or try to give it to you, but Blue Cheer. Blue Cheer's a band. They're from NorCal too, the Grateful Dead area. But their first album is very, very early heavy metal, and that was late 60s. That was well before Sabbath.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing them. Maybe you did give me a record. I don't remember. That
first album was so good. It's called it's some stupid Latin name that who gives a fuck about, but that first album was really, really good. Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay. All right.
These are notes you should be typing with your fucking dumb hands. I don't hear typing. I'm
Notes
doing
for
so
typing.
many.
Notes.
My keyboard.
You have Sheer Heart Attack to listen to. You have Blue Cheer's first album to listen to. You should revisit Blue Oyster Cult because it's a fucking fantastic band. I don't know why you hate all bands that aren't AFI Bodies Crash Love era. I don't understand.
Oh man, my Crash Love record sounds so good. But
you're the worst.
Anyway, let's jump back into the lyrics of The Wizard. What do we have on this one? I mean, outside of the Gandalf stuff, do we have anything else on this one?
I think just the way Ozzy sings. This is he sings like a blues singer. The way he goes like a traditional blues singer, like my baby, you go up and then you go back down. That's how Ozzy sings in this first record. It is very bluesy, like Skip said, but it's it's they're trying to mask it with their own personal experience, with their own design, essentially. But damn, this album is very, very bluesy, and I love that. I love it. So good.
Especially with how unique Ozzy is as a vocalist. Nobody sounds like Ozzy. Nobody has ever sounded like Ozzy. to this
Yeah.
point.
I didn't know
No
he's
one.
fucking.
insane.
I didn't know he's Brummy until like way later in life. He's singing. He sounds like I don't know, just like a normal Southern California, the stand Galactic Basic
What?
is what we call it. Galactic Basic.
Galactic Basic. Yeah. Do you
That's
speak
what
Bocce?
Southern. Southern California dialect should be called Galactic Basic because that's what everything on Earth should sound like is Southern California dialect. I thought Ozzy was just like a normal American dude for fucking decades, and I was like, he's a. But then I think it wasn't until his TV show came out. I was like, what the fuck is he saying? Why does he sound like this when he talks, but he sounds like this when he sings? How is that possible?
So you thought Ozzy was American until like yesterday, but
Essentially, yes.
all right. So do we have anything else on this song? What do you
Yeah,
guys
I
think?
just want to touch on, like, going back to the music. This is the first time you hear Tony, and he is a master of the wah pedal, like, and using it in a rhythm way, and like using that kind of cocked wah, so it's kind of like constantly affecting the tone. Like, he is, you know, if Jimi Hendrix kind of pioneered the wah pedal because he was the first one to use one, but I think Tony, only a couple of years later, he's using it in a very different way. He uses it in a much more rhythmic kind of way, you know, and it's becomes an inherent part of the Sabbath sound down through
Yeah.
next few albums. But here's the first time you really hear him doing it in that wah wah wah. wah.
He's not doing it like in a wanky way that Hendrix did it.
No, not at all. He's using it as a rhythm thing, and so, you know, yeah, and he's kind of like it's almost like it's on all the time, but half cocked. So it's just constantly like creating a filter on that guitar sound, and it's magic, man. I think it's so cool because it just makes it sound off, you know, and it's so cool. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome.
When I hear like wah pedal, Jimi Hendrix, and we did Hendrix in the pod, and I really think Jimi Hendrix is like top 3 guitars. I don't think he's the greatest, but I think he's top 3. When Hendrix plays the wah pedal, I imagine like a kid like just discovered something and said, holy fuck, listen to this. This sounds super dope, right? And then just being super knowing about it. But incorporating it into pretty damn good songs. That's fine, whatever. But he died like right after this album came out. Like Hendrix died fucking so early. In England, by the way. I don't know what y'all did over there, but he died in England, okay?
Well, we also were the first people to champion him. You know, he had to come over here to get famous.
That is true. That is because Seattle and fucking dude, Seattle treated him like shit. Who cares?
Y'all guys are too racist.
Then that is probably also true, especially in that area. But I think you're right. I think when Tony got a hold of the wah pedal, he's treating it as supplemental to the guitar, rather than like Hendrix treating it as just something like, hey, I can play the guitar and it sounds like this, like a child would do it. And then I revert back to like that Supernaut part, that boom, boom, that whole thing that in Supernaut, which is so fucking cool, dope. Not as good as Changes, but still super dope.
Oh my God, you're so annoying.
What do you want to say? That's what I'm saying. I'm hyper excited. I'm hyper excited.
What do you want to say?
This is
I'm
your
just
job.
saying.
This is your job to reel it in
Christmas.
here.
Jeff's had some sugar. He's all over the shop.
Dude, unbelievable.
All right. So where does the Wizard sit banger wise? This is my 3B. Where does it for you guys?
This is my 2B, but there's a part in a later song that if it was separated into its own track, that would be my 2B. So this is my 2B.
It's my freebie as well. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, there's only 5 songs really.
Yeah.
So
Is your freebie like you can just take it?
Yeah.
for free?
Give it away. I'll give it away.
Yeah,
Give it away now. Hate that douchebag.
all right then. So are we good with the Wizard? Should we move on to the next?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at about like 45 minutes per song, so let's go.
Yeah, we gotta.
All right. Yeah, we'll speed this one up. We'll speed it up. So the next one, like we said at the beginning, we're doing the North American track list. So the next one is Wasp, Behind the Wall of Sleep, basically NIB or Nib. So just breaking it down real quick. I mean, Wasp is just like a 30-second groove, really awesome riff, and then it jumps into Behind the Wall of Sleep at 32 seconds, and then basically starts at 3:38, and then Nib starts at 4:19 and wraps up the song. So that's the quick breakdown of where all the songs start and end.
Yeah.
But what do you got on this one, Jeff?
A lot of stuff. A lot of
A
stuff.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So if we're going by like song, Wasp, dude, the way like Yomi's first riff swings, fucking dope. Dude's got swing. Dude knows how to like jam. And then like also in front of like some serious geezer swing too. Like geezer's in the back too. Like, hey, I'm the bass player. Don't forget about me, right? Serious swing. It slows down to that really solid groove. Do you want me to go like track by track and like little run around, or just do all my thoughts and you do your thoughts? What do you want to do?
I mean, I'll let you and Skip run through the thoughts. I'll just throw in little things here and there, little accents in there.
All right. The first solo, you can clearly tell, like 100%. This is a band that is a blues rock band carving out their unique sound. And Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, from Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. No, I'm just kidding. It's Black Sabbath. It's out the song, whatever.
So annoying.
Into the Wizard. But like this is the first time you've heard just straightforward blues rock. This is just unencumbered blues rock, nothing else about it. But it's fine. It's fine because it's in the middle of the song and it's transitioning from one thing to the other. And there's a little fun like bass solo to bridge the songs together. And this is in like the Behind the Wall of Sleep basically era. And then like the last part, like that last riff to go into the NIB thing, that's very Clapton inspired. That's very like think like Sunshine of Your Love, right?
Oh, it kind of is, yeah.
That's it's not kind of it. It's fucking for sure is. That's very, but it's not ripping off. I would hope that it's like paying homage to. It's taking something from the era, the Cream era, and then incorporating it into like a different sound, and that's fucking cool because Zeppelin did it. Who cares? That's what all like blues rock is based off of. Stones did it for the first 6 albums. Who cares?
Yeah,
That's dope.
Boring
I like it.
6 records, yeah.
This is my 5B. Like if I had to rate these based on Bs, this is my 5B. I don't think dissecting this song by song, the 4 tracks here, I don't think that would help it at all. I think this is just, I don't want to say the worst song on the album because that's not fair, and that's giving a negative thing on something that's really, really great. I think there's a lot of really, really cool things here that show kind of the true personality of Black Sabbath.
So what do you think, Skip, on this one?
A lot of similar stuff actually, which is nice. We're all in sync for once.
Always.
But always, always. Although Asphenia is the better track from that album.
I was thinking, always, I know you'll be in sync with me.
I was thinking all the small things too.
So much always. Always bringing it back. Always bringing it back to Tom.
You got it, man. He's God. Tom is God. Gospel
is
according
God.
to Tom.
In Tom we trust. In Tom we trust.
Ooh, I like that too. That's 3.
I like that one, yeah.
Behind the Wall of Sleep is it's Trez bluesy for sure. I really love jumping into the lyrics, but yet the repetition bit in the 3rd verse, it's like the whole turns your body to a corpse bit, like over and over. So cool, and like it's almost understated the way Ozzy says it, but it's just and the music backs off it, and it's just that really nice repetition. So cool, so cool. Like, and lyrically, it's really. I like it. It's like this, deadly petals with strange power. It's like this eating this weird plant, and you die, you go crazy. It's kind of Alice in Wonderland vibes as well.
So cool too, though. Like so rad. I love them.
Exactly. And then basically, jumping into that, Geezer literally never plays it the same way live. Constantly changes it. It's just he was playing on Tony's wah pedal basically. He was like, I could do this too. But I mean, for me, like obviously on the UK version, the tracks are separated, and Nativity in Black is my ultimate 1B. Partly because hear me out, Jeff, before you jump on your angry horse.
I'm listening. Because an
I've-
ultimate 1B from a ripoff of Clapton is fine. That's okay. What do you got?
Yeah. So the reason is like this is where yes I am, but standing on
No. I meant Jeff's an idiot, not you, Skip.
this is where it all like clicks for me in terms of this is the I think this and the opening track are the most Sabbathy tracks of this entire record. I mean, Nativity in Black, because it's where the riff locks in, and it's a riff, and they became known as a riff band, and it is Sunshine. You're like, da 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 da, and then Oz is like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's so
I love the
killer.
oh yeah.
It's so killer, and it is kind of bluesy as well. And like, you know, the wah tone on the bass. I'm a bass player, yeah, but the bass sounds fucking huge in that song. It's almost leading it. It's almost leading it, you know, with Tony's kind of rhythm underneath. I know there's some lead wah over the top as well, but it's pummeling, man. It's pummeling, and it's the satanic wordplay. You know, you think you've gone from like Sympathy for the Devil with the Stones, which is still kind of keeping the devil kind of like at an end. It's pleased that you hope, but he's still kind of like the devil's like a gentleman. You know, you hope you guess man. But then with this, you know, it's my name is Lucifer. Please take my hand.
Please
you know,
take my hand. Oh, I love it.
It's humanizing him. It's making him almost like a figure of like there's a vulnerability to it, you know, but it's satanic, but it's like it's cheeky, it's fun. Oz's performance is it's killer. Like it's one of the heaviest parts of the whole album when those, you know, the riffs lock in together. And yeah, it starts with a bass solo, so of course I like it. But yeah, Behind the Walls of Sleep as well. It's you know, you actually look at the lyrics. There's spirituality to it. There's from darkness there springs light. Wall of Sleep is cool and bright as well. So it's not completely hopeless either. There's a really nice, like, there's a sort of, again, going back to the being working class and going off on, there's an innocence and a kind of naivety to their lyrics, especially at this point, because they're not smart kids. They're not writing fucking poetry. You know, they're just trying to write. They're a blues band trying to be like, oh, if we write some original songs, you know, we'll get a bit more money. Like, you know,
True.
And it's, you know, oh, you could, the bass player put some words down. That'll do. Yeah, I'll sing that. And I love that. I think it's you know, again, clawing themselves literally out the gutter with this naivety and I think that's why, like, even non-metalheads like Sabbath, because, you know, it's not like Metallica where it's aggressive lyrically and it's hyper masculine. Like, Sabbath is, a lot of it's escapism and a lot of it is vulnerable, and it's never, the music is quite masculine, but lyrically it never is, really.
True.
So yeah.
So
I like that.
One thing you guys didn't touch upon in NIB is the guitar solos. So each ear has a different guitar playing, and they're not playing the same solo.
Yeah, that's
which
really
is like,
cool.
It's so fucking weird. It's so goddamn weird, but for whatever reason, it works so well. It sounds so goddamn good. It never sounds jumbled, and it's not like it's a call and response. They're just playing different things, like completely different things.
And how cool because Tony obviously must have had it in his head, you know, to go back and overdub and be like, it's going to be fine. You know, it's one of the few overdubs.
I mean, honestly, this is like one of the very few things that they overdub outside of like the beginning with the rain and the bell and everything.
And then in A Bit of Fingers, Sleep Village, and Warning, there's also a dubbed guitar thing there that's kind of different and fun, but we'll get to that later.
We will get to that later. Yeah.
But no, I mean, NIB, I mean, really this song to me, it's an instrumental jam the first 4 minutes, but the real song is NIB. It really, really is. And I mean, that song is just, it's such a fucking banger.
Can nobody fucking not hear Sunshine of Your Love here? Like, you guys, like, are
No,
you
I hear
that
it. No,
good
I
at,
hear
like,
it.
disassociating the two songs?
No, I mean, now that you said it, I totally hear it. I completely hear it. But
And that was like 4 years before this.
okay, and what's wrong with that? It's
There's
still a
nothing
great
wrong
song,
with it, but like,
but you're acting like there is something wrong with it.
But this has to be 5B. If we're going by the North American 5 tracks, this has to be the lowest B because
This
of
is my
that.
4B.
It just
Oh,
has
okay,
to
so
be my
you
4B.
got to throw out Zeppelin's first album then, because that's all stolen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like Zeppelin's first album. Thank
Oh,
you very
bullshit,
much.
you don't
okay?
like it.
I don't like
Bullshit,
Zeppelin's
you
first
don't
album.
like it. That's
I've
stupid.
repeatedly, we did it on the podcast. I ranked it fucking low as shit. I think Zeppelin's 2 is their best. Is one of the greatest of all time. Zeppelin's
course
1,
it
who
is.
gives a fuck about that album? Fuck that album. Who cares? What are you talking about? Joking my ass right now?
I think there's been a communication breakdown, boys. We need to. Oh.
Wow, you're coming in with all these jokes. It's like you wrote all these jokes down.
Dude, I know. He's been like saving them. I like it.
I literally have no musical notes. I just have funny things to say.
And I still don't know if he's saying literally like more often because it's funny to us, or if he's just saying it because it's part of his like normal.
Is it just literally how I talk? No one knows. No. Oh, good.
I don't even know, and I don't even know if he's saying literally the way he normally says literally in real life, or if he's just like accentuating the literally part of the literally
Perhaps
just for this podcast. I don't know.
I'm just a secret wanker.
You are. Yes.
There you used wanker. Remember before you said you weren't sure if you've ever said it?
I knew I had to get it in here, guys, just for you. Just to,
You're an enigma wrapped in a question and wrapped in a. Yeah,
This is my fourth pod with you guys, so I've got to get wanker.
This is the fourth one. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
full.
All right, so let's move on to the next song. Let's move on to Wicked World. So what do we have on this one?
Like B-wise or just... This is my
Just-
4B.
Let's start with the music. This is my 2B. What does this sit for you, Skip?
This is my... Oh, which bit? Is it 4B? 4B, I think. Yeah. No, 5B. No, it's not. No.
Wicked World is?
No, 4B. Sorry, I can't remember my notes. 4B. Yeah.
Jesus.
Sorry,
Jesus
bro. We're to
Christ.
scare you there.
I mean, there's got to be a 5B if there's a 1B, if they're all Bs.
Yeah, we can all agree.
You're right.
They can't all be... And we all agreed that Sabbath from Sabbath was their 1B, right?
That was my 1B, yeah.
That was my... Yeah, well, overall, if I take Behind the Wall of Sleep away from Nativity and Black, then yeah, Black Sabbath is 1B. But in the North American, it's my 1B. In the real edition, it's my 2B.
In the real edition, okay.
They're an English band.
True.
But I actually think the American edition is better for cutting a cover off, to be fair.
Yeah, because Evil Woman, yeah. We'll get into that last, but because I don't really want to touch upon it too much, but yeah, we'll get into that later. But Wicked World, I mean, this song, it has that jazzy hi-hat part, just to start off the song. That amazing guitar riff comes in, Geezer's noodling underneath it. Oh my God, dude, it's what a great opening part of a song. I love it so much.
That's a very blues thing to do that. Like, that's a very blues thing to do, is kind of like take from... I mean, they're really like blues before jazz in some aspects. It's a very bluesy thing to do. But to do it in a way that's allowing everybody else to come in naturally rather than kind of conceited and wanky-like. Because everybody comes in naturally. And like Ward rips it up, dude. He rips it up and it's fine and it's great. But it's not too complex to where if like Geezer dropped in, they'd be like, oh, that sounds weird. Or if Tony dropped in, like, oh, that sounds weird. It's a cool drum beat, but it's not too complex.
Yeah,
Like a lot of prog fuckers will do like later on, and even kind of this era too. But I like when Iommi octave jumps that higher riff part. You can kind of hear a faint sloppiness. You can.
Oh yeah.
You can hear him kind of, he didn't fuck up, but he kind of like muddles these notes a little bit to where he knows he has to catch up.
Yeah.
That's fucking phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal to leave that in there. And that's what we get also too when you really get into Sublime, because Bradley had died at the time. You can kind of hear some of that stuff in the Pawn Shop song. You can kind of hear that fucking up stuff. And it's like, that's cool, man. Just fucking leave it. I like it. Leave it. It works. But then like Bill's got some great cymbal beats going on, right?
Yeah, he does some amazing things on this whole record.
And the song kind of goes into that bluesy transition and like the classic, like, let's stop all the music so the guitars can wank. We have that here.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, okay, that's fine. Whatever. This is the 4th track on the album. That's fine. Let's let it happen. Let it get out of its system, and then we'll move forward from there. Nothing wrong with it.
No. It's the
Not at all.
It's the least interesting part to me is when the guitars do the it's just a guitar. Let's have a Guitar Hero thing. Maybe it's because I'm not a guitar player.
And the thing about the guitar solo is that it's not just like one continuous stream of just playing. He stops like every bar, and he'll just play like one little lick and then stop. There's going to be this dead silence. Plays another lick, dead silence. It's just the weirdest fucking solo ever.
But
it sounds great.
It's what I said in the rankings episode, isn't it? It's how they use dead space. It's so creative.
Yeah, it really, really is.
I think it comes from two things. Like Skip said, I think this band, for whatever reason, I don't know why a band would do it, but when they're not playing is just as important as like when they are playing. Like much when you're doing a tattoo, like that negative space, using your skin color to kind of blend into like what your tattoo is going to be, to make it pop even more, to make it more unique to you. This band uses dead space to make that silence more unique to them. I don't know why they do it. I don't know if it's a lack of just like training, if it's a lack of just instrumentation, if they're just not that great at grooving with each other at this point, because there's a lot of that, as opposed to Master of Reality, when you can tell it is deliberate. It is deliberate, like dead space. Like they know exactly, we should be quiet at this point because it would make this next part sound even better. When it's here and you kind of like know that it's just in one take, one day, call it a day, that's it, no more. It almost sounds like they kind of like are fucking up a little bit. They're still kind of like moving through the motions. They're saying, yeah, this song sounds great live, but now that we're just in this enclosed room, it doesn't hit as hard as it did then. So let's change it a little bit. I don't know how it's going to work. Fuck it. Let's do it live. That type of thing. I think there's a lot of risks being taken in this album. I think that's what,
absolutely.
Like, and again, I think going back to like the production, that's this guy just like going out on a limb, either being fucking brilliant and seeing something in the band that the band didn't even see, or he's just fucking lucky.
All right, so let's play a little bit of Wicked World, and then we'll jump back in, wrap up the song, the lyrics, and then move on to the last song. So here it is, Wicked World from Black Sabbath. So let's wrap this up musically, and then jump into the lyrics. What do we have?
That was
what do we want to talk
all my
about?
notes, bro. That's it.
I mean, I think, yeah, musically, just to jump over from Jeff, I think I agree. This to me like feels like a jam in a good way. Like it feels like, yeah, you know, it's great the way it kind of does the slow down thing as well. The opening riff is great. You know, it's
so poppy.
Yeah, it's almost like Cantina Band.
Bluesy.
Yeah, definitely bluesy. Yeah, you can hear it's a Strat, you know, which is cool. I mean, lyrically, I think this is like really interesting, and it's almost a precursor to things like War Pigs. You know, it's simple, it's angry, it's got a message, and it goes, again, I've said it 100 times this part, it's the context and the working class thing. You know, they're angry at the politicians, literally. You know, it's so scathing. A politician's job, they say, is very high. If he has to choose, he's got to go out and die. You know, that's the entire plot of War Pigs right there. You know, and again, it's just yearning for escapism. You know, we've watched The Man on the Moon, but people are dying of disease everywhere. Why?
That's my favorite line of this entire album.
It's a great line.
So good.
Out there in the open. So easy.
Yeah. And then, like, that last verse is so, I think, autobiographical of, you know, whether it's Geezer actually or just, you know, you'd know someone. Yeah, a woman goes to work day after day, goes to work just to earn their pay. Child sitting crying by a life that's harder. He doesn't even know who is his father. You know, it's like, yeah, that is the epitome of working class life in 1970s England. You know,
it's so sad to think about.
Yeah, you work till you drop. You know, you don't even see trees. There's no greenery. It's just street after street of smog, and yeah, factory working, and everyone's sick all the time because it's so unclean. Everyone's struggling. You're making a wage. You're never going to better yourself.
That's very inval letter department though, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
At the Sabbath Inn. But yeah, it's interesting. Like Wicked World again, it's pointing to where they're going to go. There's trajectory there, and again for like 1970, for you know, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not intellectual. You know,
True. No,
these
you're totally right.
aren't educated guys, but what they're saying is fucking on, and it's still true. You know, what do politicians still do? They still want to go off and fucking die. We are people still of diseases because, you know, medicine is a business, especially over with you guys. You know, at least I've got a health service. You guys don't. And yeah, we've got all this wonderful technology. So why are we still fucking at each other? You know,
I know, right?
It's so bad over here. So bad.
Oh man, yeah, like, you know, I mean, yeah, you guys have the fentanyl crisis and stuff like that. Fucking hell.
Oh, dude, it's fucking insane over here.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole that we probably shouldn't go down because
we
we'd
don't
spend another hour going through all that shit.
But yeah, like,
yeah,
it's a cool. It's a great sign of where Sabbath are going, and as a commentary on you know the social politics of the day. It's a banger, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you would know more of the English history than us, obviously, but I think speaking up against in 1970, speaking up against the government and the monarchy and all that kind of, like the way that they're speaking in here in this song, like that's a big no in England. Like I feel like you can probably get arrested for writing shit like this.
Oh yeah,
like, this wasn't like 1960s US. This is way a different environment, different society.
Yeah, I mean the monarchy then was like the be all and end all. And, this is 7 years before Johnny Rotten says "God save the Queen." This is this is edgy, man. This is out there.
It's surprising that they never got more shit from the monarchy. You know what I mean? Or they never got, like, I don't know, because the monarchy is so based in religion as well, and why they never went after Sabbath the way they went after the Sex Pistols and shit like that.
Yeah, I think it's honestly
really
because
bizarre.
Sabbath took time to get big because they were so ignored critically for years. It's only like
True,
I think Volume 4 was the first one to get a decent write up from anyone.
True, and they were really blowing up here in the States, I feel, way before they blew up in the UK.
Yeah, you guys embraced them, and I think it's so they're a touring band. They just grafted for years before they got real recognition. Especially, it's mad that now they're legendary over here, but like they're almost simplified. People don't remember anything past the first 4 albums, and they just think of big heavy riffs and the song Paranoid, and that's it. And it's like, no, there's, something that I really appreciated binging so much Sabbath this past few weeks is like there's so many flavors musically to them. There's so much more than just a couple of down-tuned riffs and Ozzy Osbourne.
True. All right, so I mean, I don't know. You covered the lyrics really well on that. I don't have anything to add. Do you have anything to add, Jeff?
That's all I got, baby boy.
Okay, so let's move on to the last song. The last song being A Bit of Finger, Sleeping Village, Warning. Just a compilation of songs right here. What do we have musically on this one, guys?
Well, are we doing like our what
So,
banger is this for us?
I mean, so really it's just kind of like much like the last compilation of songs. It's pretty much like like an instrumental kind of thing up until the main song Warning, which comes in, I think, at 307. I think.
Yeah.
306, 307.
Because warning would be my 2B. This as a whole is my 3B.
Okay.
But also,
you like Warning that much, huh?
Is there a significance in a bit of finger? That sounds like it would be like a colloquialism.
I mean, I'm guessing it's. I would say it's. Yeah, giving the finger. Do you know what I mean? Like the one that,
Oh, a bit of finger there.
Bit of finger, mate. Yeah, I'll give you a bit of finger. It certainly sounds dirty, doesn't it? Do you know what, mate? I'll go for a bit of finger.
It sounds like
night.
It sounds brummy. Yeah.
I took my finger to her sleeping village, son. There was no warning.
Oh, you give it a bit of finger there.
I'm a cockney. I'm a cockney. I know.
I was just making noise at this point. This is what I do.
That's how you
But
do it.
no. As Warning would be my 2B. This whole thing in itself is my 3B. Dude, a Jews harp and a metal album. Like, what the fuck are you thinking?
It's so
what
funny,
are
though.
you thinking?
Dying.
It works. It works perfectly. This is a string of riffs and small jams again. That is just like the first several minutes is just that's it. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of riffs, a bunch of jams, great drumming, fucking great bass playing. But the song kicks up and you can hear Ozzy on the tambourine there in the background. I think for the first time in the album, if not the only time.
Yeah.
It's very, very subtle, and they clearly turned it down. So if he's in the booth, right, and he's tambourining on his leg, and the mic's up top, that's why he's not picking it up that much, because it's super, super subtle. But it's kind of cute to see, like, I don't know, like the first 2 or 3 minutes or whatever, there's no Ozzy, so he's like, well, how can I insert myself into this song? So he picks up the tambourine and starts clicking on his leg. That's what I thought that sounded like. But dude, like Warning, that song fucking slays, man. Bluesy, heavy, a little psychedelic. The second instrumental part in Warning in that section is so fucking rad. It changes pace, then changes pace again mid-break with like 2 slowed down notes, much like in fucking Francis. If we keep bringing like Mars Volta back in here, right? The dun, dun, and then go into whatever you want to do.
Dude,
that's all you need.
that.
You don't need crazy transitions. All you need is just bum, 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 and they do it here. Ward rips it up, Bonham style, fucking great. And Tony just shreds. So solid. Absolutely amazing.
But even in Warning, like he Tony rips it up a lot in the song, but it seems like they'll play for like 2 minutes. Like they'll play off of a riff that Tony does, and then after like 2 minutes they'll stop, and then Tony will play a new riff, and then they have to all like kind of keep up with the new riff that he's going to be playing next. And I love that. It's like literally every 2 minutes in the song.
Which is cool and kind of on the surface, because if you just have the guitarist rip it up, you're a blues band. You're a fucking Derek and the Dominoes, dime a dozen. You're a Clapton. You're Zeppelin at this point. You're just following the guitarist. But because they switch riffs that often, you need a solid rhythm section to kind of like get the listener going again. Because to stop and go is tough for a listener. It's tough to get back into the beat. So you need a good rhythm section. And again, I'm not saying the bass player is the most important thing in the band, whatever. But like, you need a good rhythm section to get me going again. And this is what Sabbath does really, really well, because Tony's great and he's a fantastic guitarist and one of the greatest like metal guitarists of all time, one of the greatest guitars of all time. But this rhythm section, when you get Bill Ward and Geezer together, is damn near unmatched. Damn near unmatched.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there with Bonham and John Paul Jones, rhythm-wise.
Really,
sure.
like the more I listened to Tony, the more I just thought like, dude, you are so good, man. But like, you would be Randy Rhoads. Like, if you put him back to back, Randy Rhoads is better than Tony Iommi.
Technically speaking, yeah.
Don't even care.
Technically, yeah.
Tony is only great because he could write riffs and he could write songs and he could write structures because Bill and Geezer could keep up.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
And they were unique enough too. The rhythm section was unique enough. Like if we're throwing it up against Randy Rhoads, I forgot who the drummer and bassist are on that record, but like they're just playing like simple, basic, straightforward rock, arena rock music, But here, Bill is like playing like he's a fucking caveman, like a monster. And then Geezer is playing like a guitar player, He's not playing like a bass player, like we've talked about.
Yeah, well, that's it.
It's crazy.
I think I've said it about the Stones before, and I may have even said it on the pod before, because like Bill's got this swing, this natural swing, so it's not quantized, it's not perfect. And he's a powerhouse on this song. Bonham is probably the best comparison, like contemporary. And then we were saying like Geezer's bass tone, where you've got that clack, then the moi, then the note. So he's almost like ahead of the beat, and then Bill was slightly behind. So it just fills the beat because neither of them are quite on it.
Yeah.
And it gives it this, it could all fall apart, but also it's so fucking tight at the same time. And then Tony is, he's very much the band leader on this song. You can hear him, as you say, like, he does a riff, they jam it, does the next riff, they jam it, and obviously the huge guitar breakdown, like where the band wandered off for a quick cigarette and a pint. Forgot they were still recording. Oh shit! You finished, mate. You played with all the pickups. I've played with all the pickups. I've done the blues bits. I've done the wanky bits. I've done another blues riff. Then I put two guitars doing the same thing slightly behind each other. Sounded great. Pick up the sticks again. Yeah, all right. We'll come back in, and like on a dime, they come back in. Really tight. But yeah, it's a band led song, like a real band leader being Tony. But yeah, that rhythm section, the one in front, one slightly behind. It makes it propulsive, which again, when you're stopping and starting, helps, as Jeff said, helps bring the listener in, helps keep the listener interested on the journey.
And that's interesting too, because this is one of the ones where it was dubbed to where I think he's playing the same. Tony is playing the same guitar solo, but one of them is like half a step or half a second behind, and so you get this. Yeah. This dueling guitar thing going on, but it's the same fucking solo.
It's like trying to make a natural chorus pedal. Do you know what I mean? It's cool.
Right.
Yeah,
but
it's really cool.
But it lags too much to be like a chorus thing, but it's too close together to be like a dueling guitar thing. So it's fucking weird. And again, I don't, like, why would you do that? I love the way it sounds. I think it sounds absolutely fucking phenomenal because we don't hear that because it's stupid, because it shouldn't work, and it doesn't work. But it works here because we don't ever hear it ever anywhere else.
Yeah,
Whose
and it's
idea
not.
Was that?
Yeah, it's not
Who
quite
did
the Thin Lizzy, Judas Priest, two guitars, because it is slightly off. And yeah, Or is it just because it's a bit sloppy? Because they were like, "Fuck it, we're doing it in a day."
I know. It's so cool. It's so good. I love it.
It is, and also let's talk about real quick the his tone, like his guitar tone, how crunchy it is. This is probably like one of the crunchiest sounding tones on the entire record.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
Totally
dude, I
agree.
love his goddamn fucking tone on this. I mean, it sounds like he's probably playing the SG on this one because it does
Yeah.
have that crunchier
It's
sound.
got that humbucker crunch. Yeah, I was about
But
to say.
damn, dude, it sounds amazing. And I don't know, man. That's one of the best parts of this entire song. Another thing is this is also a cover by the Ainsley Dunbar Retaliation, which I didn't even know, but yeah, it's a cover. I didn't listen to the original. Did you guys?
No. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
a very of the time thing. Is sticking on a couple of blues covers,
Yeah.
and they definitely Sabbath it up. I feel. I don't know. I've not heard the original, but I can imagine. I'm just gonna say this one's better.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, this sounds like a Sabbath song. Like, unlike "Evil Woman," that doesn't sound like a Sabbath song. That sounds
Does
like a cover.
not.
It's too,
Yeah.
it's too simple, too
It's
basic.
too poppy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So I imagine this is a far, this is far different than the original version. Warning is. So I don't know. Should we wrap it up with this song and then touch upon "Evil Woman" and then give our rating?
Sure.
I would
I mean,
rather wrap it up with this song, touch upon the cover art, and then skip Evil Woman, and then give it a rating.
Sure,
we can do that. I'm fine with that.
We're doing the North American version, so I'm fine with that. Just as
Okay, yeah.
I really love the kind of clunky lyric. You look so cool and casual, and I try to look the same. You can't put the word casual into a song in 2022. But back then, again, it's that working class, But I do love the classic bluesy. I was born without you, baby.
God, I love the way Ozzy sings that part too.
Yes, but my
it's so good.
feelings were a little bit too strong. Just a
Little.
little
He
bit.
sings that lower register.
Yeah. So bluesy.
Who knew he had it in him? God
Dude,
damn.
the guy sings very blues-like. Like he
This whole
everything he
album.
does, he models around like the blues stuff, and I think it's the band that shaped his persona. Like
Yeah.
the whole his entire like success and career and life and TV he owes to the band because he's
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
He hadn't
Cool
hit the
front
kind
man.
of the double vocal thing that became very much the Aussie thing by this point. That's really the next album, I think, where it really kicks in.
he's got a cool image, but he's pretty fucking worthless in this band.
He's the least good part, technically.
He's the Ringo Starr of this band.
Don't be shitting on Ringo like that. No, it's illegal in this city to say anything bad about Ozzy, but he is, I think, actually the weakest member of the band.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't even write the fucking lyrics.
I know. The fucking what's the guy from Fall Out Boy?
Pete
fucking
Wentz.
name.
Patrick
I-
Stump.
But Pete Wentz is the one that writes the music for
Yeah, he
the
writes
guy
the
that
music.
sings. I don't know the fucking
He
sings.
doesn't write the music.
Patrick
he writes
Stump.
the word. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Patrick Starr from
Patrick
Starr.
Star.
yeah.
Ringo,
Okay, so
Ringo
let's-
Stump.
Let's jump into the album art. It was a photograph by a guy named Keith McMillan. He's credited as Keith. The model is named, what's her name? Livingstone. I can't even think right now.
That's fine.
Oh fuck. Oh no, I just had it.
Well, it's funny that it's credited to
Louisa
Keith,
Livingston.
'cause they can't say THs, so they say F, so it's Keith instead of Keith.
Keith.
Get it? Right?
Keith.
That's
Is that
good.
funny?
Yeah, that's good.
Get
That's
it?
good. That's
Yeah.
good. But Louisa Livingston was the model on the album art, and apparently she wasn't identified until 2020. So she had kept it secret that she was the person on the cover. But I fucking love that cover, man.
It's a good cover.
It's so
it's
moody.
spooky,
Weird.
scary. Whew, love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
just
That's
yeah,
good.
It's
like, when-
evocative.
it is like when you throw on the first song and you hear the rain and the bell and you just look at that cover and you're like, wow, this, like, I'm in for something scary. Like, imagine, I just can't imagine 1970. You're probably 14, 15 years old hearing this for the first time. You're probably scared shitless, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And I
oh,
love the
man, it's so
typeface
cool.
as well for Black Sabbath. The kind of curly
Yeah.
beads. It's kind of gothic, and well, I mean, the whole front is gothic. And a
I
bit-
I always thought it was kind of like a blend of like the Mona Lisa and then like what I knew as growing up as what Ozzy looked like. I always thought before I even like this week really when I read about what the cover came from, I always thought it was supposed to be a mashup of like the Mona Lisa and then what Ozzy looked like. Like that's what I thought that girl looks like in the cover.
Honestly, until I was like an adult, I thought it was Ozzy on the cover because of the hair. Because it's like we grew up in the '90s and early 2000s, so like we see Ozzy with the long hair, with all dressed in all black all the time. Because back in the early Sabbath days, he didn't dress like that, or most of Sabbath, he didn't dress like that. It wasn't until the '90s where he got that whole black goth look. So I always thought it was Ozzy for a long time.
I mean, I always saw it as that's the woman in the title track, in the black, and that's how I took it as a kid. Because when you're a little kid, and again, I've got my dad's copy of this on the vinyls, so you're staring at the artwork and it all kind of rolls in together. Especially, I mean, Sabbath are weird because they've got either great album covers or fucking terrible album covers, and there's no
True.
From this through to obviously Paranoid with obviously clearly going to be called War Pigs because it's a fucking war pig on the front cover.
Such a bad cover.
It's so bad, I know. And then obviously Massive Reality is really cool and it's minimalist
like
thing,
that.
and like Volume 4 again, it's so striking. And then we've talked at large about Sabotage and Bill Wood's Codpiece and the jizzing robots and the pointless army pilots, but I mean, even the weird color
army pilots.
The weird colors on this as well. There's lots of purples and stuff in it. It's slightly wrong and it's otherworldly and it's kind of like I suppose it's kind of like get across that kind of gloaming time, isn't it? That kind of twilight kind of light where the light does go a bit weird.
It's also how grainy it all is too. Like it looks like if cameras were invented like in the 1600s, like it looks just fucking ancient.
Yeah,
nothing about it. It's eerie, man.
Well, there's a couple
cool.
other takeaways too. Like that color tone is kind of it's off. It's weird. But then also we only see Black Sabbath. Is that the name of the album? Is that the name of the band? If you don't know who Black Sabbath is, then you see that and like, what the fuck is Black Sabbath? Do you even know this is like a band? Could it be like a religious fucking thing? Is it like some type of? It's only Black Sabbath, right? Like you've no idea what it is.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. And it's got that horror movie aesthetic, which is obviously where the band name came from. It looks like a horror movie. There's a woman in black. There's a old creepy house.
Yeah, there was music-wise, no band was coming out with an album cover like this as far as I know, 1970. Like, what the fuck is this? It's truly dark and almost demented. And reading more about what the band has said about the artwork, the cover art and the inner art, the gatefold sleeve and stuff, they weren't happy with it. They didn't want to be associated with Satanism. They wanted to be scary, but they didn't want to be Satanists. You know what I mean? But then a lot of these people from these different religions, kind of embrace Black Sabbath and kind of gave them the bad name that they held on to for decades, or that they were plagued with for decades.
But also bought into that. It made them rich.
I think they did more toward
pay
the
your
end.
Fucking bills is going to happen for sure.
Yeah.
But I also like reading that they did a lot of photo shoots with that model, and she was either nude or like semi-nude.
Yeah.
And they saw it and like, you know what? That's too provocative. That's too sexy. That's not what we're going for. We're going for a darker tone. Let's not use that because it's so easy. It's so easy just to throw a naked girl on the cover, right?
True.
That's what other people have done in the past. Houses of the Holy, looking at you.
This isn't Roxy music. This is Black Sabbath. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. So, have you ever been to this location where they took the picture, Skip?
I mean, possibly. It's the kind of thing I think my dad may have taken me to.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like it says it was shot at the Maple Durham watermill on the river. Was it River Thames or River Thames? I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's Thames.
Thames.
River
Okay,
Thames.
and in Oxfordshire, And I was looking at like a more recent picture of it, and it looks so like, even just looking at like a normal modern picture of it, it still looks creepy. Like if you go
Yeah.
into the
Weird,
Wikipedia,
dude.
you can look at it, and it's just like, it just looks run down. It's creepy,
Yeah, I mean,
man.
well, it's an old watermill, isn't it? I mean, there's plenty of similar kind of places in Birmingham or on the outskirts as well, you know. And yeah, there's Sarehall Mill, for instance, which is Tolkien land, and that's what I like about Birmingham, is you're not too far from the country, and there's the Licky Hills and stuff, and you can go out there. Some of those, it's creepy, man, and you do find old. But and even around Aston and Digbeth, you know, where they grew up, there's lots of old factory buildings where a lot of raves go on and stuff, and like illegal club nights, you know, because there's all these old spaces that you can break into. Not that you should, or at least know what you're doing, like in terms of safety. But yeah, and it's always cool, I think, when nature starts reclaiming buildings, you know, which you can kind of
Yeah.
see in the photo there, and you start getting the vines going through, and it becomes eerie.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's eerie, but it's so cool.
so cool. It's so horror.
Yeah.
It's so Black Sabbath.
Yeah, it really, really, really is. How far is Oxfordshire from you?
Oxfordshire. We don't say
Sorry,
Shire. That's cool.
I'm
It's cool.
sorry.
They're not hobbits.
I was letting it go for a bit. Oxford is it's like more,
Shire too.
it's more, it's closer to London, I think, unless my geography is totally off. But it's not like close to London. But it's
Okay.
it's down and to the right a bit.
Okay, got it. All right, cool. So, do we have anything else on the artwork, or should we wrap it up and give our rating? What do you guys think?
That's all. I'm
You
good.
can rap and rate, buddy. Rap and rate.
Okay. All right. So, yes, what we're going to do is we're going to rate this record according to our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album but give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So, Jeff, what are your final thoughts and your rating on this record? Go.
I don't even know where to begin with the Sabbath, Bloody Sabbaths, Sunday Bloody Sundays.
All right.
I think we didn't even mention it earlier, but also like an early memory I have with Ozzy is the whole biting the heads off bats thing. Remember how that was like a rampant? I don't know if it was like a big thing in England, but like in America, there was a time period where people thought like Ozzy was like chewing the heads off bats constantly. At least
Like,
that's how I read it.
Like in
right?
Little Nicky, right? Little Nicky, he does it.
I
Is he
mean,
really?
that
I don't
was
remember that.
that was a joke off of the article though. Like Tyler, do you remember this? Like people thought like Ozzy was biting the heads off bats constantly. Yeah.
Well, because what he would do is, because after the initial incident, people would throw up plastic bats, or he would like bring a plastic bat and then bite it off.
Right. As a
Yeah.
joke.
So that's what it was. Yeah.
Yes, but he wasn't like biting the heads off fucking live bats,
Like real
as,
bats, yeah.
as
No.
like the media would have portrayed it to be to my younger self. So that was another thing I thought was funny. So Sabbath has always been this band that is mixed in with like dark controversy, and up until about like 15-ish, like I was Catholic. I was heavily into like Catholicism, and I went to CCD and I did all this thing. So I just never really got into Sabbath, because not that I thought it was sacrilege, but just because maybe like it was a subconscious barrier that I put myself in between. But I liked Iron Man. So this past like month and a half, whenever we decided to do this, listening to these albums, I do think these are fucking pretty dark songs, man. These are pretty like satanic driven things, but not in a goofy way. Kind of in a more like, this is going to make us money. Let's do it. I'm down. And then hearing like later on in life, Bill Ward and Geezer talk about religion, I think that's an afterthought. I think they say these things to make the lore stand longer and sell more records. So
Agreed.
like given the context of Black Sabbath as a brand, I think it's fucking fantastic. I think it's something Led Zeppelin has never achieved. I think it's something the Stones have never achieved. I think it's something a lot of these bigger bands that are coming from this classic rock era have never achieved. In 100 years from now, when historians are going back and talking about Zeppelin and Stones and Sabbath will stand out because it's like, wow, that's fucking nuts, man. This is a brand. This is something that is completely different than what their contemporaries were doing. So, given that, I think their first like I don't know, what did we talk about? Their first 9 albums are goddamn fucking almost perfect. They're good. They're amazing. Everything has something better than the last, or took something from the last and made it better. That's why I think Master Reality is the best. But this album is unreal. It's unworldly. This is a perfect album. Contextually, like Skip said, imagine yourself in this brummy town. You're working hard. You just got your fingers cut off. What are you gonna do? You're gonna fuck people's religion up. Is what you're gonna do, and you're gonna go with the flow. That's what you're gonna do. This album's perfect. I love it. It's goddamn, it's good. Makes me feel weird still to this day. Like it. I dig it.
All right. So you get a perfect 3, right?
Yeah, this is a perfect fucking album. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, Skip. So what do you have on this one?
So I mean, interesting. Similar to Jeff, I was actually raised Catholic. For my first years, I was an altar boy and everything. Never got touched, so maybe I wasn't pretty enough. But too dark. But that, I never really had.
Not even gonna touch that one.
No, well, they did.
Not
even like I never really had that much faith, but I always found the whole idea around religion quite interesting. So I think that's one of the things that draws me to Sabbath. I'm a sucker for that hocus pocus, like satanic bullshit. I think it's great. It's really cool. I'm the kind of guy who read the Satanic Diaries and verses and all of that. Was into Andor LaVey and all that bullshit because it's just. I didn't think it was real, but I think it's.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, I that's a Kool-Aid I'm happy to drink. And it certainly helps with Sabbath. I agree with what you're saying about law for law's sake, and that is really cool, and it is something that I think Zeppelin kind of tried really with the weird symbols and stuff, and songs remain the same, and the weird films, but kind of Sabbath did it almost with way less effort. But equally, I'd say I think the reason for that is that they're drawing comparisons of real life, as I've stressed before, was dark and dirty and horrible and short for them. And then, so they're kind of being escapist, but also translating it in being always satanic darkness and stuff, almost as a way to deal with it, and using it as a metaphor for just their life, which is pretty cool. And again, like I said, the simplicity of the lyrics and all of that, but they're saying cool stuff, and there's definite shock factor. It's the Marilyn Manson of its day. But there's so much cool blues rock going on here, and there's touches of psychedelia, and they're so you can hear how tight they are, that they've been playing together for a while, and there's a lot of talent in the band, natural talent. They're not technical. I mean, Tony can shred, but they're not tech, but they're tight, and there's an energy there that's unique to these 4 guys, it is the best Black Sabbath lineup. And I think the problem with Sabbath is there's so much mythology around them. It can be daunting. It's like with Dylan or, someone else that's got a large back catalogue and stuff. It's like, where do you start? And the answer obviously with Sabbath is you start here. It's dead easy. You start at the debut and you just go through, and then you stop. You stop just before Never Say Die and go, well, those Black Sabbath guys, they made 8 really great albums.
It's true.
There's actually a great T-shirt that my mate has that says "Trust nothing but yourself" and the first 6 Sabbath records. So I'm like, that's basically
wow,
spot on.
Okay.
But this album's fantastic. I've loved the past month just diving back in. I've waffled long enough. It's a fucking 3 out of 3. We all know it is.
Woo!
It's a satanic perfection. Yeah.
Satanic perfection.
Satanic perfection. That's so good.
All right. For me, I mean, this is something truly unique. You can hear the influence of this record on so many bands and records since 1970. I mean, it's just remarkable that Sabbath and Zeppelin and Van Halen, really, I think those are the big 3 most influential rock bands of all time. Hands fucking down. Those are the biggest ones. And it's just so cool because Sabbath is truly unique in itself. Nobody sounds like Ozzy. Nobody sounds like Tony. Bill and Keys are in their own fucking world. It's just Sabbath are just so fucking cool, man, in every aspect. And we've touched upon so much of it, musically, lyrically, artwork wise. I'm not going to go into it too much because you guys, said a lot of what I wanted to say. So with that, I don't do it often, but I'm gonna have to give this record a perfect 3 out of 3. Perfect 3 out of 3. It's a beyond. I mean, it's beyond perfect. You know.
Yeah.
It really is. It truly, truly is. It's, in a way, it's underrated because it's that fucking good.
I agree. I do think this is underrated. Absolutely. I think Paranoid.
It's
talked about
overshadowed.
Master Reality. Yes.
It's overshadowed by what they built to, but they wouldn't have those records without this one. Everything they did, you can hear at some point on this record.
And it's just the slew of musicians that say like fucking Phil Anselmo and Dimebag who talk about there would be no Pantera without Sabbath. I was like, no, there'd be no Pantera without Sabbath. Like straight up.
And
all of these bands, but
they're not talking about
exist.
Technical Ecstasy or Never Say Die. They're talking about this. Yeah,
They're
For
talking
sure
about,
not talking about Techno Ecstasy.
And there were real people like with Zeppelin and stuff. They were always larger than life. They were rock stars. But Sabbath, like real people, you could have a pint with,
Yeah,
and that's cool. And I think that's one of the reasons why the critics hated them, because
and also there was no like Pretty Boy. There was no Pretty Boy.
the closest they had was Ozzy.
Dude, they were all fucking ugly, dude.
Yeah,
These
that
guys
was
are
another
ugly,
thing too.
ugly
They had,
men.
like the media didn't really have anything to market visually the
Yeah.
way they did with Zeppelin, with the Beatles, with
Yeah.
name any other band from the 70s, because every guy in this band they're not good looking dudes.
And Zeppelin was like already a fucking band before they were even a band. Like these guys have come from studio work. They come from
Yeah, exactly.
bands that were already established. And when
Well,
they
that's
formed
it.
Zeppelin,
You
fuck
hear
that.
hear Robert Plant talk, and he's hello chaps, it's lovely, and he's he's a nice guy, but he's very grammar school boy. Hello chaps, Ozzy's like it's yeah, and even
Can't
Tony
fucking understand
still,
what he's saying.
yeah, it's great. But that's it. They're real. Whilst Zeppelin were a much more privileged group of people.
Yep.
They were making music because they were good at it and they could afford to be taught. Sabbath made music because it was something to escape, and there's a for realness there and that's why Sabbath are better than Zeppelin. Full stop. Sabbath.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree with that.
I would say overall Sabbath is better than Zeppelin, but I think Zeppelin's 2 is better than anything Sabbath ever did.
It's a bold
Saying
statement.
That is
Oh,
bold.
And you want to talk about like rough and tumble, like Birmingham. Well, I mean, you know more about Birmingham than us, obviously. But
Not
what
me.
was that like 2-3 years ago? Geezer was out in like Joshua Tree here in California or some shit like that, and got in some bar fight with somebody. Do you remember
punch
that?
him in the
Amazing.
jaw because he was fucking shit talking Jews.
This guy's like fucking in his mid-60s, starting bar fights with people in the middle of the desert in California.
I mean,
Talk shit, get hit,
that's
bro.
hardcore.
what's a real shame is obviously we had the Commonwealth Games here this year, and Tony was there for the opening ceremony, and then no one knew. In fact, he decided the day before at the very end. I was just like, I'm going to fly over, and he's just had the surgery, and you can see he's literally strapped onto a back brace, and you can see it's mimed. It's like they've clearly done a live take. It's a live vocal, but it's not the live vocal. I mean, I don't give a shit. It was Ozzy on stage. The guy could barely stand. He's
Wait,
having
what
the
was this
best
for?
time. Commonwealth Games this year. It was his first, first thing he did post surgery.
Oh, okay.
No one knew it was going to happen, and
Wait, what's the Commonwealth Games?
It's like a mini Olympics, but only it's like the Olympics, but for nations that are in the Commonwealth, which is like the remnants of the British Empire. And it was held in Birmingham this year, which is cool. So for the first time since, the end of Sabbath, what's it,
2015, I think?
2015, and the only reason Geezer wasn't there is because when they realised Ozzy was coming, they called him and he was like, to be honest, mate, I've got COVID and I'm actually on my yacht in the Caribbean and I don't really want to go to Birmingham. Fairly fucking reasonable. But it would have been cool to have, having Tony at the opening ceremony was great, and everyone was like, oh, and I think I've said to you guys outside the pod, the pub where they first started playing The Crown, they're planning to reopen it as a music venue in the next couple of years. And
No shit.
there is, and people are like, you've got to get Ozzy to open it. You've got to do it. If he's still alive, And
Oh my God, can you imagine the OG lineup of Sabbath opening that?
Oh man, yeah, and because it's in the middle of Birmingham Centre, it's right next to the train station, and I've walked, I never remember this pub being open, but I've walked past it thousands of times, And yeah, it's being bought. It's happening. It's always going to take a couple of years at least. So I mean, there's a real question of who's going to be around, genuinely. But it's just the fact that that musical history is going to reopen in Birmingham. Zeppelin played there, but Sabbath were the famous ones. It's just, but the who's who of all the blues bands, passed through there. I'm sure Clapton must have played it with his Cream or just as his own shit. It was just the dive bar that the blues bands played. That's
so cool.
So cool. Yeah. So when it reopens, I'll take some photos for you guys to go with the Black Sabbath.
Let's go to Birmingham, Jeff, when that happens.
I was just thinking, like, maybe we'll just show up, dude.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Can you imagine we just show up and don't even tell you, we just show up?
Well, I mean, from what they're saying, it's going to be a community hub, so it will be playing local bands as well, which would be awesome, So
yeah.
Maybe we'll see Nordic Fiction play there.
Yeah, the modern literature's amazing. So over to you guys to wrap it up because I've taken over.
No, it's all good. All right, so I don't know. Do you want to promo anything, your band or anything like that?
No. Did you ever get the vinyl that we reset?
Have not.
I'll chase it up.
Okay.
Did
you have a tracking number or anything like that?
I'll speak to Greg because he's in charge of posting it. I mean, we can cut this. We can cut this out if we need to. But yeah, I will generally. I
know this seems like behind the scenes stuff that maybe we can just do after Tyler wraps up.
But no, we've got nothing to promo at the moment. We're in a writing period. We've had a bit of a lineup change, so new stuff coming. Gigs are getting booked. I'll know.
But still, check out modern literature.
Yeah, check out the
literature.
Literally, we're on Spotify.
We'll link you guys. We'll link you guys in our bio, and then we'll post about you guys on the pod page too. Because
sweet ass.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
You help us out, so we'll throw
help
up
me,
a
help you,
too.
help me, help you.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah,
that's all.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars, 5 stars only. Tell all your friends because we are the best. And that's it. That's all.
Black Sabbath.
Tony Martin.
Deal or no deal.
Right. And nobody would ever take his seriously because of the makeup. But like Dio kind of like makes, I don't know if at first he thought people should be taking him seriously because he kind of like puts on that persona of wanting to be taken seriously. But I also don't like Holy Diver either or anything Dio really's ever done. I don't dislike it a lot, but I definitely would never listen to it.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a Dio breaker?
Oh my God.
A Dio breaker. That's so stupid. I love it. It's so good. But like even the God is Dead, dude. It's so derivative.
It is.
It's so silly.
It is, but I fucking love it.
Really, dude? Like you're how old and you're like God is Dead is like you're essentially your biggest banger on here and it's fucking like 10 minutes long. Oh my God.
But
I like it. It's a great song.
There is a question mark, so you should be saying it like God is dead.
God is dead.
Dead?
It's true. It's so stupid, like Pennywise.
Land of the free.
So
you have
annoying.
the bread. No, it's not really in a British lexicon. I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. It's very Southern California. I would imagine.
That's tubular chaps' top work.
Top work.
I mean, do you guys really? Make a deal out of it, or is it always a holiday for you guys, or is it just going to
Boxing Day?
Holiday. It's never been a holiday for us.
I think I only knew it existed when Blink did the song about it, and then I was like, "What the fuck is Boxing Day?"
Same here. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Boxing Day with the Blink song.
Of course it is. Oh, there you go, Tom DeLonge, teacher, artist, dreamweaver.
Dude, did we just like 6 degrees like England to Tom DeLonge?
Possibly. Possibly. Is that one in Tyler's head?
There's a transition for you. I mean, it all boils down to like the whole world should adopt the Southern California dialect because that's the only actual objective, correct way of speaking English.
With the long accent or nothing else.
Yeah, the Poway accent.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, damn.
Poway or no way, yeah.
Oh, damn. The Poway or no way. Wow.
You can have that one too.
You're so giving over here. Is there a significance in a bit of finger? That sounds like it would be like a Like a colloquialism? A colloquialism?
Colloquialism. I mean, I'm guessing it's. I would say it's. Yeah, giving the finger. Do you know what I mean? Like the one that, yeah.
Oh, a bit of finger there.
Bit of finger, mate. Yeah, I'll give you a bit of finger. It certainly sounds dirty, doesn't it? Do you know what, mate? I'll go for a bit of finger
It sounds
last
like
night.
it sounds brummy. Yeah.
I took my finger to her sleeping village, son. There was no warning.
Oh, you gave it a bit of finger there. Oh,
I'm a cockney.
It's just
I'm a
making
cockney. I'm a
fucking
cockney.
noises.
I know. I was just making noise at this point. This is what I do.